The National Broadcasting Company presents the National Football League. Today, from the Los Angeles Coliseum, it's the Buffalo Bills versus the Los Angeles Raiders. Brought to you by Budweiser, Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By Mitsubishi Motors, who invites you to come see the full line of cars and trucks. Mitsubishi, suddenly the obvious choice. And by McDonald's, it's a good time for the great taste.
Great afternoon for football in Southern California. We welcome you to the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. Gary Gerald along with Dave Casper in this matchup between the revitalized Raiders and the resurgent Buffalo Bills. As you can see, the Raiders will be kicking off, and the Bills with a 6-5 record are now with Indianapolis winning today, trailing the Colts by a half game in the AFC East. And this one is underway at Memorial Coliseum. Ricky Porter from the 4-yard line brings it out for Buffalo. A bit of a seam, but pulled down just short of the 25-yard line. And we're underway in this one. The Raiders at 4-7, coming off a big win Monday night up in Seattle when they stunned the Seahawks. And the Bills fresh from that shutout victory against Miami 1 week ago. Jim Kelly, the quarterback, has a fine complement to work with. Ronnie Harmon had a 100-yard rushing week last week. The rookie Mueller in the backfield, and the receivers, Burkett, Reed, have had some impressive numbers. The offensive line has been injured. Jim Richer at left guard, one of the keys today because he has a bad knee. Harmon getting the initial call straight ahead for a couple of yards. Matt Millen, inside linebacker, handling the tackle for the Raiders, who've also had their share of injury problems, both in the offense and the defense. Raiders breaking a 25-year all-time losing streak when they had lost 7 in a row with a big victory this past Monday night. We'd like to welcome those of you who have been watching Indianapolis knock off Cleveland 9-7. The final in that one just underway in Los Angeles. Matt Millen making the tackle on Ronnie Harmon. First offensive series for the Buffalo Bills with a 6-5 record coming in. Now chasing again the Indianapolis Colts. Indianapolis with a 7-5 record thanks to their victory today. Malcolm Taylor starts in place of the injured Bill Pickell at nose tackle. Long and Jones alongside, and we'll check the rest of the defensive set in just a moment. Right now, third down play coming up. A couple of wide receivers in now for Jim Kelly, who goes to the air and completes the pass. Harmon out of the backfield, close to midfield, pulled down to the 49-yard line. A 20-yard pickup before Stephon Adams could come in along with Van McElroy and make the tackle. Dave Casper, let's take another look.
The Bills have one weapon in Harmon. The Raiders have a problem. How do they cover the back out of the backfield? They're covering with James Davis, the defensive back, and Ronnie Harmon gets open. But they spread it out. They look for the short pattern, and they completed it. Good job.
Just short of the midfield mark, the 39th reception of the year for Harmon coming out of the backfield. And as we mentioned, good for a 20-yard gain and the first down. Kelly on the ground. Porter, penalty marker is down, fighting for 1 yard and then thrown back into his own territory. Tough hit from Van McElroy, but again, penalty marker down. And Ben Dreith giving the indication that this one will work against the Buffalo Bills. We'll find out who the guilty party is momentarily as we hear from Mr. Dreith. Wolford, Richer, Hull, Vogler, and Devlin, the starting interior line for the Bills.
Holding number 67, 10 yards. First down.
That's the center, Kent Hull, who picks up the hold.
On the right side of your screen is the center. If that is 67, no, that looks like 70 Devlin. Hard to find the hold in there, but they saw it. The officials can see those things.
Ricky Porter, second-year man, free agent acquisition this year. Out of Little Slippery Rock, Pennsylvania, getting the call that time, and the penalty moves the ball back to the 39-yard line. Kelly with time completes the pass in Los Angeles territory. It's Andre Reed. Ron Fellows, who starts in place of the injured Lionel Washington, making the tackle after a 15-yard pickup.
It's a good play. This isn't what the Buffalo Bills want to do, but Fellows covering here, number 21. Look, he gets turned around by Reed. Excellent throw right in the numbers. The Buffalo Bills want to run right up the middle. They started both series right up the middle at him, and look what happens. They're throwing the ball. This is the Buffalo advantage. They can throw the ball to wide receivers if they can't run the ball up the middle.
Reed, who has caught 39 passes, hobbles off. Trumaine Johnson is in the lineup in his place now at the Los Angeles 45-yard line. This is Harmon, only a yard against the center of the defensive line. Rod Martin is having a great year as an outside linebacker on the right side for the Raiders, as we'll check the rest of their defensive starters in this ball game today. I mentioned that Robinson having what Tom Flores and some of the staff consider an all-pro linebacking season, along with King, Millen, and Martin. And among the defensive backs, a couple of new names today. Ron Fellows and Sam Seal get the start in place of the injured Lionel Washington and Mike Haynes. Neither of those men dressed for this ball game because of nagging injuries. First series of the ball game, and this one batted away as Kelly was trying to make it 3 for 3. Harmon, the intended receiver, and the ball knocked away. James Davis in his 6th year out of Southern. So punting situation coming up now for the first time for the Buffalo Bills, who got the first down a couple of times, were able to move into Raider territory but unable to capitalize. Chris Woods, the deep man, as we take a look at the punter, John Kidd, and you see Kidd's numbers for the season thus far. Raiders about to get their first opportunity, and this one bouncing inside the 5, but it goes into the end zone for the touchback. So they'll bring it out to the 20 after a 43-yard kick by Kidd. No score, and the Raiders will get their first opportunity to go to work with the football. Take a look at the Raiders offense as they come out. Mark Wilson, who called Monday's victory in Seattle the most satisfying of his career. The Heisman backfield and a roar of anticipation from this Coliseum crowd as Marcus Allen and Bo Jackson will go to work. The interior line, and this is the 9th time that the offensive line has been juggled because of injuries this season. The center, Mostbars, the only man who's been able to be a consistent starter. Handoff on the first carry goes to Marcus Allen, out close to the 24-yard line, and the nose tackle, Fred Smerlas, doing a fine job for the Bills to make that tackle. We'll check the defensive set now for Buffalo. We mentioned Smerlas, Bruce Smith having an outstanding season as a defensive end, along with Sean McNanny. The linebacking core, well, Cornelius Bennett, mentioned, you'll hear his name many times today, and another rookie, Shane Conlon. Darryl Talley has had a quietly effective season. And a young, inexperienced, basically, but gaining confident defensive back core for the Bills. Wilson looking to throw with protection. Trying to go deep to Dokie Williams at the 40-yard line. Double coverage provided by the Bills. Kelso and Burrows were stride for stride with Dokie Williams.
Interesting formation. Bo Jackson spread to the left. Wilson throws to the right. A little bit of a mix-up, it seemed, between Wilson and Williams. However, they're using Jackson in a lot of different situations. Spread him out here. They've handed the ball to Marcus Allen, but he is a weapon that can be used as a decoy as well as obviously a touchdown threat anywhere on the field.
Steve Strahan has come into the Raiders' backfield now. They go to work from the 24-yard line on 3rd down. He replaces Allen. Jackson is in with him as a twin setback. Lofton wide to the left side now as Wilson sets the Raiders. Here comes the Buffalo blitz, a 5-man rush. Wilson scrambling out of the pocket now decides to keep the football out across the 30. It looks like he has the first down. Good scrambling effort by Wilson, who had protection against the blitz that time.
That was actually set up to be a scramble left. Straken, when he came in, you'll see Cornelius Bennett come from the outside, but Straken on the lower right side of your screen, you see him, number 39. He is actually set there to make sure that Mark Wilson can roll out, and this gives them the option to run if they cover the receivers, which they did. So that was a set-up roll play, a good play for 3rd down and medium distance.
So the ball out at the 31-yard line, the first down for the Raiders. Here's Bo Jackson for the first time today, and look out as he crashes across the 40 to the 42-yard line.
You can't let him get the shoulders turned upfield. He's any back in the NFL as long as he's in the backfield. When he gets turned upfield, he's unbelievable. Now watch Bo. He starts right. This gives him, his offensive lineman, a chance to get in front of him. Now right here, he's a great back. He's turned up the field. Right there, goes through tacklers. No other person, I don't think, well, there's been great ones, let's face it, but right now, he may be the best right now at that.
Certainly exploding on the scene as far as national prominence is concerned in the Monday night performance. He's now the second leading rookie rusher in the NFL, and this is only his 6th ball game of the season. Ball is tipped, almost caught by Lofton, but he was unable to get to it after the ball was tipped by a defensive lineman. Let's check now scores here in this week of activity. We mentioned earlier that Indianapolis has kept pace up front, beating Cleveland. Final, San Francisco over Green Bay. Looking at a possible overtime as Philadelphia has come back against the Giants. Big surprise is Pittsburgh, now 7-5, and Seattle slides to 7-5 with their 2nd consecutive loss. Washington big. And you see the other scores here. A final, Atlanta with an upset over Dallas, and we'll get back to those scores momentarily. Wilson setting up the screen. This is Marcus Allen across midfield. Marcus Allen says, I'll take a share of the spotlight as he gets to the Buffalo 41-yard line before Dwight Green, or was it Derek Burrows, is over to make the tackle. 18-yard pickup. And we'll take another look now at Marcus Allen in action on this swing pass.
Bo Jackson goes in, he goes left in motion, screen to the right. A screen is as much of a misdirection play against the run as it is a pass. Marcus Allen is a fantastic receiver. He's an excellent runner. And it's unbelievable to have him in the same backfield with Jackson. Good blocking right in front of Marcus Allen.
Back to live action. Here's a handoff now to Jackson, and look at the little footwork in the backfield. Shakes away from one man, but pulled down at the 40-yard line as he got back up toward the line of scrimmage. Go back and recheck that final series of scores. New Orleans getting a touchdown, the early advantage over Tampa Bay, and of course New England and Denver scoreless, just underway. That one being played in Denver. Denver with a big opportunity today if they can come up with a victory, with the San Diego Chargers in trouble today, and with Seattle having already lost. And of course later in the season there will be a showdown between San Diego and Denver in Denver. Vance Mueller in the backfield. Wilson wants to throw, completes the pass. Coming out of the backfield, it is Mueller. Good effort by Mueller to pick up some tough yardage before Odoms and Shane Conlon could make the tackle.
Raiders showing a very varied offense. Very varied offense. Throwing on first down, running on first down, and now the short pass. Wilson just looks back, checks downfield, and dumps it off. Good catch, and look at this hit. Still keeps running. A couple extra backs that aren't too bad either.
Nate Odoms made that first pop against Vance Mueller, and Mueller was able to shake him off and get to the 34-yard line, where it's now 3rd down, and they need 3. Wilson again with a lot of time, and wide open is Lofton. Lofton out of bounds at the 15-yard line. Well, the varied attack pays off with another 20-yard gain, Dave.
Well, that's right, Gary. That's very varied. They're running on first down. Now Wilson drops back. Lofton comes all the way across the field. He gets good protection to throw the ball. It's been cleared out. He's wide open, a good play. The Raiders aren't letting them know what they're doing. They're changing the play. Every single play, they're changing their operation of procedure.
Well, this is the first offensive series of the afternoon for the Raiders. No score first quarter. We have 6:38 to play in this first quarter, and the Raiders are on the move at the Buffalo 14-yard line. Bo Jackson up the middle, and he gets only to the line of scrimmage. Smerlis and Smith in there, and Smith wrapping him up as Jackson was stopped, and that was something that didn't happen with any regularity Monday night in Seattle.
The Raiders want to run up the middle with Bo Jackson. You need defensive line work. There's Fred Smerlis right there. Look at that arm rip. Don Mosbar is a pretty good center, and he's going to give Smerlis his day of work. Both those two are excellent linemen. They're going to have a nice match today.
That'll be one that we'll try to keep an eye on from time to time as the Raiders now look at 2nd and 10 from the 14-yard line. Jackson split wide to the far side now as a receiver. Wilson looking for him. Touchdown Raiders, Bo Jackson. Scores Monday night, and he comes right back on the first offensive series on Sunday afternoon on a 14-yard reception from Mark Wilson. And many of the Raider fans up and applauding a newfound hero who has come from the world of baseball to play football once again. Conversion attempt coming up. Wilson will hold. Chris Barr is on for the point after attempt to try to make it 7-0. And as you can see it coming right at us, right through the upright. So the Raiders have jumped out to a touchdown advantage, showcasing Bo Jackson length of the field.
You've got to love this operation. They sent Bo Jackson out there a couple of times before and didn't do anything with him, and now they throw the ball right to him. He's getting coverage from the strong safety Drain, who's not going to be their best cover man. Bo Jackson's going to be faster, and you get a touchdown.
5:55 to play in the first quarter, and a reminder to our viewers that we'll be selecting the Budweiser Most Valuable Player for today's game at the conclusion of this contest. Raiders won the first 3 games of the season. Then they lost 7 in a row, something they hadn't done in 25 years before bouncing back in Seattle Monday night. And the first time they get their hands on the football here today, they have moved the length of the field. As Chris Barr now gets ready to kick this one off. Tasker, Porter, Mueller will be the return men as we take a look at the numbers on the scoring drive, using up just over 5 minutes and going the 80 yards, culminated by the 14-yard touchdown pass. Mark Wilson connecting for the 74th time in his career, and that is his 9th touchdown pass of the current season. See the 3 return men for the Bills. Buffalo hoping that they can keep the playoff hopes alive. The last time they were in the playoffs, 1981. With Indianapolis beating Cleveland today, the Bills come into this game a half game behind the Colts, and of course a victory would keep them on the same pace at 7-5. But that's much later in the afternoon before we'll know about that. Here's Barr's kick. Porter watching it go by him into the end zone, where it's down, and they'll bring it out at the 20-yard line. Marv Levy, of course, is the head coach of the Buffalo Bills. At age 59, he took over in the 10th week of last season. Now this is his first full year, and you see his numbers in the National Football League after several seasons in Kansas City when he coached the Chiefs from 78 to 82. Also coached in the CFL, the Montreal Alouettes. His counterpart, Tom Flores, in his 9th full year at age 50. Been a member of the Raider organization for some 22 years. Boy, you could sense the relief in that man yesterday when we talked with him at practice after what transpired Monday night up in Seattle. Kelly and the Bills go to work. Jamie Mueller in motion, little play action fake. Firing right over the middle, incomplete, intended for Burkett at the 45-yard line, or at the 40-yard line. Ron Fellows starting in place of the injured Lionel Washington, the defender. Fellows today, this is his first start as a Raider. He's a 7-year man in the NFL, was a trade acquisition from the Cowboys this year, played his collegiate ball at Missouri. So he's facing a pretty good test today, as he'll be trying to keep tabs on the deep receivers for Buffalo. For the most part, the Bills don't throw long that often. They're kind of a 15, 18, 20-yard passing team, and a lot of times out of the backfield, as Dave Casper mentioned a bit earlier. Byram in motion now in the backfield. The pitch out to Harmon. And Harmon not finding much to work with as he tries the left side for about 3 yards, and Rod Martin was right there to knock him down.
Both Rod Martin and Sean Jones, number 99 on your screen there. They're going to be an interesting factor to this game. Sean Jones is playing against Wolford. He's been pinned, but Rod Martin's going to get there and help on the play. Look at that. Sean Jones did a good job by making sure he didn't get moved downfield into Rod Martin's pass so Rod Martin could scrape off him and make the play. Good play by Sean Jones. Good help by Rod Martin.
From the 23-yard line, third down coming up. 5:07 to play first quarter. Raiders leading the Bills by a 7-0 margin. Gary Gerald along with Dave Casper watching Kelly get it off just ahead of the big rush that time, trying to find Burkett. And you see Kelly getting up after Greg Townsend came powering through there, number 93. He had a couple of sacks Monday night to give him 6.5 on the season.
Greg Townsend is their designated rusher, so to speak. Kelly needs to set his feet. Let's see if he gets him set here. He said he's got to get rid of that ball a little bit early, and that's what happened. Greg Townsend's a good pass rusher. He's a little bit small. He's pretty quick. He makes him get the ball off too fast.
The kick from John Kidd, pulled down by Chris Woods. Woods trying to find room at the 38-yard line, and listen to those pads pop there on a 44-yard punt and only a 4-yard return. We have 4 minutes and 45 seconds yet to go here in this first quarter with the Raiders leading. John Kaiser in on the tackle that time for the Buffalo Bills. Let's go back to the 10-minute ticker now and update activity here. Many finals now in. You see that Cleveland a winner over, or excuse me, Indianapolis a big win against Cleveland today in Cleveland. San Francisco, and now in overtime, Philadelphia and the New York Giants. Pittsburgh with a surprise over Seattle. Seahawks have lost 2 in a row. Washington with a big lead, and Houston handing it to San Diego as the Chargers seem to be in trouble. Kansas City and Cincinnati also now in overtime. Wilson completing the pass out at the 43-yard line to the tight end Todd Christensen. Christensen, of course, not putting up the big numbers this year that we've seen. The last 4 years he's been over, 80 receptions a season. Familiar position for you, Dave Casper. 4 years as an all-pro with the Raiders.
Your big target, get down, turn around. They can only cover one half of you, you see, and as long as the quarterback can throw the ball to the other half of you, you're going to get a reception.
Well, they made it look easy on that particular series out to the 43-yard line. Allen and Jackson, the Heisman winners, both in the backfield with Lofton in motion. This is Marcus Allen, tripped up. Didn't quite get to the line of scrimmage as he lost his footing. Cornelius Bennett was coming in on that side. Only a couple of other late games being played today, and New Orleans with a 2-touchdown advantage now over Tampa Bay, and they're getting real excited down there on Basin Street in New Orleans as they start thinking about playoff possibilities, and the Saints for the first time in their history with a winning record. Third down for the Raiders, who lead this one 7-0. Big rush coming, but again the Raiders pick it up, and here's Allen in midfield. Marcus Allen close to the 40-yard line. 15-yard gain. And again, protection, a big word there from those injured offensive linemen for the Raiders, just as they did Monday night, Dave.
Oh, they cross the defensive line. Wilson gets the ball off, and Marcus Allen's a great receiver. Just catches it and turns it upfield. He makes everything look so simple, but yet he gains a lot of yards. Bruce Smith, he's an excellent pass rusher, and Mark Wilson gets the ball off just in time. That's a heck of a throw by Mark Wilson to realize the pressure and get it to Marcus Allen.
Allen has caught a ball in 65 consecutive games now as a professional, and he has the football looking to throw. This time there's Bo Jackson. Well, you talk about your different look and your wrinkles. There's one right there. 24 yards on the pickup before Kelso could muscle down Jackson, and it was Marcus Allen throwing the ball to him. And what a dangerous tandem you have in that backfield now. Marcus Allen, high school quarterback. You could say anything about him right now you could for a regular quarterback. Ball thrown right to the numbers, set up well, threw it well. Goal starts to make it look like a block and goes out on the pass. The Raiders have already gotten 3 or 4 new plays into this game already. They've obviously come here ready with a game plan, prepared for the Buffalo Bills, and they're using their new game plan this week. It's nothing we saw last week. It's a brand new game plan. At the 17-yard line, 2 minutes to go in this first quarter. Raiders lead at 7-0, and they're threatening once again against Buffalo. This is Bo Jackson. Nothing working this time as he gets to about the 15. Penalty marker comes in late, as you saw, flashing across the lower portion of the screen. So we'll find out what this one's about, and Ben Dreith will inform us momentarily. Allen down there on the sidelines doing a little house cleaning, or perhaps changing his socks.
Grab the face mask. That's a 5-yard penalty holding. 5 yards, first down.
Fred Smerlas, number 76 of the Bills, getting a hold of the face mask, and so that results in the first down with the penalty moving the ball just short of the 10-yard line. In case you've just joined us, Wilson threw a 14-yard touchdown pass to Bo Jackson a few minutes ago for the Raiders' first score, and now after a Marcus Allen pass to Jackson, and now the penalty against Smerlas, the Raiders with Strahan and Jackson in the backfield are at the 10-yard line. Pitch out to Bo, left side. Once again, trying to run through a man. Kelso was there with the tackle, but he still surrendered about 3 yards after the initial hit. And when you're looking at 230 pounds coming around that corner at you at that speed, Dave, that is a load. Speed and power. Striking number 39, he's just going to throw. All he has to do is just get a little bit of his feet, and the speed of Bo Jackson gets around, and there's his power. Speed and power. It's a heck of a combination. I wish I would have had something like that. Well, there's been graphic evidence the last 3 weeks. He ran through Harden of Denver Broncos 2 weeks ago. He ran through Bosworth last Monday night in Seattle, and Mark Kelso got a feel of the impact right there as the Raiders are now at the 5, second down. Wilson pressured, has to throw this one away, and he had Cornelius Bennett up in his face. Penalty marker is down once again. Dokie Williams was curling toward that far corner, but there was no opportunity there as Mark threw it away. Motion the indication here against the Raiders. Wilson had hit 6 in a row up until this particular point when he finally had to dump one.
Illegal motion on the offense. They declined the penalty. It's 3rd down.
Always enjoy Ben Dright. He lets you know exactly where you stand when you're doing an NFL ball game. No quibble, no quarrel, no question about what's going on. Penalty declined, 3rd down. Down to 1 minute and 23 seconds to go here in this first quarter in Los Angeles. Broken clouds today, temperature in the mid to upper 60s. Delightful afternoon for football. Glad to have you along here from the 5-yard line. Dokie Williams in motion. Being chased. Pass intended for Christensen at the goal line is incomplete. Pressure from Bruce Smith, who was in there to extend greetings for the holiday season, to the quarterback Mark Wilson. So a field goal attempt expected here as Chris Barr will be coming on from the near sidelines, and the Raiders will try to make it a 10-0 cushion here in the final minute 18 of this first quarter. Barr this year has hit 14 out of 20, and you see the longest 47 yards. Wilson will hold. This will be a 22-yard attempt. Wilson doing a good job of getting that snap down, and Barr knocking it through. So the Raiders add 3 to their first quarter total here, and with 1 minute 15 to go, they've opened up now a 10-point lead. Any surprises, Dave, in what you've seen in a very couple of impressive drives by the Raiders? We'll get to that in just a second. We're going to check some standings that are being updated with, of course, other games being finalized today. In the AFC West, San Diego 8-3, but in trouble today. Denver 7-3-1. Seattle now 7-5 after back-to-back losses. Raiders at 4-7 coming in, and Kansas City in overtime in their game with Cincinnati. Now in the East, Indianapolis with a half-game advantage over Buffalo, having knocked off Cleveland. The Jets play Miami tomorrow night. New England involved this afternoon in one of the late games in Denver, and Miami at 5 and 6. This telecast presented by authority of the National Football League. It is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Los Angeles Raiders and the National Football League is prohibited. This game is the property of the National Football League, Los Angeles Raiders, and Buffalo Bills. All rights reserved. Barr getting set to kick off. Tasker, Porter, and Jamie Mueller in the 3 deep spots on the receiving end for the Buffalo Bills. Bills' first series got them into Raider territory, but they had to give up the football on a punt. And then the second time they got it, they were unable to do anything at all deep in their own territory. Here's Barr's kick. Line drive and a good deep one. Chasing the Bills back into the end zone once again. Tasker unable to run it out, so they'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. 1:09 to play here first quarter. The Raiders enjoying an early 10-0 lead. Buffalo coming into this game having won 3 of the last 4 and 5 of the last 7 for their 6-5 record. Now going to have to dig their way out of a bit of a hole here early in this first one in Los Angeles. Jamie Mueller and Carl Byram are the 2 setbacks now behind Kelly. And it is Mueller out across the 25-yard line for a good 5-yard pickup. Mueller, a tough running back out of that NAIA school Benedictine, and he has had some impressive carries of late for the Bills. Stacy Turan making the tackle along with Van McElroy. Thus far, you can see that the Raiders have been moving the ball very effectively. Final seconds of the first quarter with 8 first downs already. Andre Reed, who hobbled off early, is back in the ballgame as a wide receiver, but Mueller crashes straight ahead for the first down before McElroy makes the tackle. Mueller picking up a tough 6-7 yards as he gets out to about the 32-yard line. Pretty effective ball carrying here.
Well, the Bills want to do this. They want 67. Hall is getting a heck of a block on Mitch Willis. If you can do that, the Raiders can't get into their pressure defenses, which can take the ball away in interceptions and fumbles. And that's the way the Bills want it. They want to run right up the middle with power.
See, Jamie Mueller put his head down and put it right in the midsection of Van McElroy that time. Last couple of seconds of the quarter. Don't know if we'll get the play off. Yes, as the gun was sounding, and the pass is incomplete, intended for Burkett at midfield. Ron Fellows, the defender there. So we played our first 50 minutes here in Los Angeles under sunny skies today, and thus far it's been pretty much the Raiders' way as they lead this one by a score of 10-0, trying to put together their second consecutive victory following a most impressive performance Monday night up in Seattle. Opportunity to review the ticker once again. Keep you posted on scores around the league in case you're just joining us here in Los Angeles today. Finals, and then the overtime continues. Philadelphia and the New York Giants, one of two overtime games that are in progress at this time. Houston over San Diego 33-11, and the Chargers are having their problems here in the last couple of weeks. The other overtime game involves Kansas City and Cincinnati. Rams a big winner today. Atlanta an upset winner over Dallas. And the other games in progress now, no change since we saw scores a few minutes ago. New England and Denver scoreless, and New Orleans by 14 over Tampa Bay.
So far today, I think if there's anything that is the difference between the two teams, it's the number of different plays each team has run. Buffalo has run a couple of passes to Reed at the wide receiver, and they've tried to run up the middle, whereas the LA Raiders has come out with their entire game plan. They've thrown to Bo, they've run to Marcus Allen, screen to Marcus Allen, thrown to Todd, thrown to James Lofton, a really diversified attack, and it's shown up in the scoreboard so far.
So the Bills go to work now, second down from the 32-yard line. Raiders showing them a six-man look up there defensively, and they've got 5 or 6 of them coming. Big blitz, ball knocked away. It's a live football. Indication that the Raiders may have it. We'll wait and see. Sean Jones was leading the rush, number 99. Boy, heavy pressure that time on Kelly. Jones ends up on top of the football. It was Martin with the push, and we'll take another look.
See if Kelly checks to the left side, to his left side. He's looking right. The blitz is coming from his left. He never takes a look. That could have been a pre-read blitz, and I don't think Kelly picked it up before the snap. As you see him pick the ball up to recover it. Kelly has to check that a little bit better before he gets the snap. Watch him look to his right. Blitz comes from his left. That's the most dangerous fight.
Rod Martin, and there's Jones, number 99, on top of it. Marv Levy had been praising Jim Kelly, saying he'd become so much better this year at reading NFL defenses in his second season in this league. Now the Raiders will try to capitalize, and on the ground it's Bo Jackson being dragged down from behind, and there's Cornelius Bennett. The old collegiate rivals getting together here, talking about Auburn and Alabama. And Bennett with penetration that time for the tackle.
Here's the same play we once saw before. Bo Jackson going to the right. Notice he never gets turned up upfield. He's just any other back until you get him turned up upfield. The offensive line has to stop the penetration. Whoever was over Cornelius Bennett allowed him to get in the backfield, and he got to Bo Jackson before Bo Jackson wanted him to.
So the loss moves the ball back to the 26-yard line, 2nd and 14. Allen, and now the Bills tightening it up in the middle that time. Marcus trying to go to work, but Fred Smerlas, the nose tackle, was right there. Smerlas, who's been a 4-time Pro Bowler. Taking a look at stats in the first quarter. And as you would well imagine, edge going to the Raiders as they lead this one 10-0, just underway here in the second quarter. Ball at the 26-yard line. 3rd and 14. Making the turn but unable to hang on was Chris Woods. Woods almost had his first NFL reception and his first NFL touchdown, but it was not to be. Derek Burrows providing the coverage.
Pretty good throw. He was covered well. He was covered very well by Burrows, and he could have made the catch. Mark Wilson made an excellent throw, and it was a possible touchdown. It just didn't come off.
So Chris Barr comes on now out of the grasp of Wilson once again. A 44-yard field goal attempt. Raiders lead it 10-0. And this one's not going to get there. I don't know if somebody got a hand on that or not, but it was not end over end. It was a bit of a line drive, and Somebody may have gotten a piece of the football. At any rate, the Bills dodged a bit of a bullet after they had turned it over on a blindside hit. Rod Martin had buried Kelly, and they lost the football, but the Raiders, unable to generate any more points, went for the 44-yard field goal and did not get it. So the ball at the 26-yard line, and the Bills get possession once again, trailing 10-0 with 13:26 to play in this first half.
Watch and see how high the ball gets. It looks like it could have been tipped by the outside rusher, but the ball didn't get high enough to begin with.
Hand off to Mueller, and nothing working at all. We understand that the left tackle now, Will Wolford of the Bills, has left the lineup. He's going to have a thumb x-rayed, and Leonard Burton has come in to replace him now in the Bills lineup. That's at left tackle. Earlier this year, Wolford was hurt and an ankle injury, missed a couple of games against Denver and Cleveland. And Burton came in and played very, very well, particularly in the game against Denver when Buffalo ran for almost 260 yards against the Broncos. Second down, we'll call it still 10, maybe closer to 9. Mueller trying to struggle, gets to the 30-yard line. You can hear they're popping down there on the Coliseum turf. Rod Martin along with Jerry Robinson teaming up to make the tackle.
2 runs, no yardage. Again, Buffalo Bills are running on first and second down, and they want to. I can understand that. That's their game plan, but they're not getting the yardage. Their offensive line is not defeating the Raiders' defensive line, and they're going to be hurting until they get those first down runs or throw the ball.
Ricky Porter along with Carl Byram now the setbacks in the Buffalo backfield as Kelly goes to the shotgun. Actually, Harmon slotted this time. He goes to Andre Reed. Reed out to the 40-yard line, and so it'll be a first down for Buffalo. Stacy Turan with a tackle, 11 yards on the pickup. Kelly now 3 for 7 in the passing department.
As you watch protection, notice that Reed comes across the field. That's a good route against man-to-man because you can always keep running away from your defender. And then you can also hit a crossing route in a hurry when you do get dogs, as the Raiders were dogging. So it's a good call against the man-to-man defense.
Line of scrimmage, the 41-yard line. 46 yards generated on the 3 completions by Jim Kelly. Token play action fake. Now looking, got a man, Harmon, out of the backfield. He had beaten that time Lyndon King. Had a couple of yards, but Kelly just overthrew him, and you see the reaction from Kelly as he pounds his helmet in disgust.
Another good play against man-to-man. Play fake, get a linebacker on the back and throw it to him. I think Kelly knows he could have had a big play if he would have hit him.
Jim Kelly has put up some impressive numbers in his professional career. Of course, in the USFL, he was almost a bit of a legend as far as legends go in the short duration of that league. And he has made the transition to the NFL very, very nicely. Has never thrown for less than 50% of his passes in a pro game. Trying to complete this one, and he does. It's Porter on the sidelines, cuts back. Porter may go. 59 yards by Ricky Porter. Turan tried to play the ball over on the sidelines, and Porter went 59 for the touchdown. But is there a penalty marker down?
They may be calling him out of bounds. I hope they don't. It looked like a good play. Here's the pass. Did he go out of bounds? Stacy Turan didn't get to that one. Here's Porter turning up the field. Not yet.
Not out of bounds yet.
No. Stepped on the line. First down.
Didn't look like it to me.
Well, if he stepped on the line, I sure didn't see it. They ruled the ball out of bounds at the 33-yard line.
That looks inbound to me.
I can't agree with it myself. Well, we'd like to welcome those of you who have been watching Houston put it to San Diego, a final of 36-18, and the Chargers continue to have their problems. I'm Gary Gerald along with Dave Casper, and in Los Angeles, the Raiders leading this one 10-0. We're waiting for a replay review on this call. It was ruled on the field that Porter stepped out of bounds on this pass from Kelly, negating a 59-yard touchdown run.
No way. He was not out of bounds. That's got to be conclusive evidence to me.
Well, I would certainly think so. The big play was the one that was not made as Turan gambled. He went for the ball and not the receiver. Porter hung on and tight-roped the sidelines, and here's the replay booth where the officials are taking
out of
another
bounds.
look. And Ben Dreith says he stepped out of bounds. So we'll continue to play, and a tough break for the Bills at the 33-yard line.
You have to wonder if a camera, which is stationed so far away, can out to an official who's 2 feet away. I think it would have been an insult to call him out of bounds, but he certainly looked inbounds.
Well, you know, the folks back in upstate New York have got to be steaming right now after that one, because what appeared to be a 59-yard touchdown becomes nearly a 26-yard reception. The Bills will take it, however, and now inside the 30 is Burkett. We understand that initially, when it was believed that he stepped out of bounds, the play was whistled dead, and so at that point, if that whistle blows, that terminates everything, and that's what we have been told from the replay booth officials. At this point, the Bills at the 29-yard line in Los Angeles territory. Kelly with 83 yards passing on the 5 completions, going for more, and a great catch. Burkett just short of the 19. Ron Fellows with the coverage, and a pretty good collision right there. That brings back some memories for a former receiver in this league, Dave.
Well, the Bills are going to throwing the ball. They've given up the run. The ball, that's a tough pass to defend. It gets there so quickly. And if you can handle it, if you can take the hit and catch the ball, it's very effective. Unfortunately, you're going to ache the next day.
5 times in his career, Chris Burkett has been over 100 yards, including Houston and Miami 2 times this season. Made a nice grab right there for the first down at the 19. On the ground, Mueller. And he's having a hard time getting to the line of scrimmage as Lyndon King was in there quickly to drag him down. Just over 10 minutes remaining in the first half, and a 10-0 Los Angeles lead. Take a good look at Lyndon King out of Colorado State. Been around for some 10 years. Played 9 years in San Diego, but was a free agent acquisition last year for the Raiders. Ball at the 20-yard line. This is the first genuine scoring threat of the afternoon for the Buffalo Bills. For those of you who have joined us late, Kelly looking at a 5-man rush, finds Reed over the middle and pulled down at the 9-yard line. He'll be very close to a first down. Sam Seal with the tackle on Andre Reed. Reed hobbled off early in the ball game, but has come back in and has caught a couple of balls as we take a second look at this one.
Again, another crossing route against man-to-man coverage. You can see how quickly he gets open, and he can keep running away from his receiver. The only time you get in trouble is if the Raiders would sneak a person up who is free and try and pick off one of those passes. But as long as they get man-to-man, as long as they run those crossing routes, Kelly can hit him. He's got the accuracy.
Getting the measurement now and the indication from Ben Dreith of the first down. It was very close, but the Bills now inside the 10 will go first and goal. For those of you who may have joined us late and are wondering about Bo Jackson's day, well, he has been a factor already. He caught a 14-yard touchdown pass from Mark Wilson for the only score touchdown of the game. Barr later added a 22-yard field goal for the Raiders' 10 points. Bills trying to get 7 back right now. Kelly flush from the pocket, dumps it out to Harmon. Harmon with a couple of moves gets back to the line of scrimmage, and that is all. Lyndon King once again with a tackle. And we're on our way to New York to check an NFL updates. 10-0 our score here as we check other activity from New York.
This is Bob Costas in New York after Nick Lowry's 32-yard field goal with no time left tied it in regulation. Here's Jim Breach, 32-yarder in overtime, and Cincinnati wins one after almost blowing yet another lead. They led 17-3. They win in overtime against Kansas City, 30-27.
And while we were away, Ronnie Harmon getting the call from Jim Kelly, crashing off the right side, getting the touchdown from about 9 yards out. 8:34 to go. We'll call it 8 yards officially, and we'll take the look at the pitch out.
Just a pitch. Now watch this running. He turns it up, finds an open hole, and gets in the end zone. An interesting play because Buffalo was having terrible success running on first down. They got in a passing situation and crossed them up with a quick pitch. It was a good call. It's one of those things you boo when it doesn't work.
Ronnie Harmon getting his first rushing touchdown of the season. And the conversion attempt by John Kidd is good. So the Bills have, I'm sorry, I said John Kidd. He's the punter. It was Scott Norwood who knocks it through. So the Bills have answered back. It is now a 10-7 ball game. The Raiders by 3 in Los Angeles.
This game is brought to you by Chrysler. Chrysler believes a luxury car should be a great driving car. At Chrysler, we're driving to be the best. By RCA, the most trusted name in electronics. And by the American Express card. Membership has its privileges. Don't leave home without it.
8:34 to play, first half. This kickoff sponsored by Budweiser, the king of beers. Harmon going 8 yards on the pitch from Kelly to get the Bills their first touchdown of the afternoon. And here's Barr's kicking again. Very effective all the way through the end zone, so they'll bring it out with a touchback to the 20-yard line. I'm sorry, I said Barr. That was, of course, Buffalo kicking off with the Raiders deep that time. 10-7 ball game. We'll see how the Raiders answer back as they go to work from their 20-yard line in just a moment.
Here next Sunday.
Machine Gun Kelly leads the Buffalo Stampede into the Hoosier Dome to take on Eric Dickerson and the Colt 45.
Or veteran gunslinger Dan Fouts tries to keep his Chargers atop the AFC West as they host the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Next Sunday, the action starts with NFL Live.
Along with Dave Casper in Los Angeles, I'm Gary Gerald. Glad to have you with us here on a sunny afternoon in Southern California. The Raiders leading the Bills 10-7. The Heisman backfield of Allen and Jackson ready to go to work behind Mark Wilson. Raiders from the 20-yard line, and here's Bo on the left side. The one that he turned up against Seattle Monday night for 91 yards. This time gets him out close to the 28-yard line. We have an opportunity to go back and look at the Bills' score from ground level.
All you're going to see is a great cut by Ronnie Harmon. Look, he sees that hole, and now he takes it. It's not easy to do. You have a tendency to want to run around the outside, but you find that little crease, boom, make it through, score, put your ball up in the air, have a nice time.
Harmon had 119 yards rushing in that shutout win against Miami last week, and a very impressive 8-yard touchdown run there to make it a 10-7 ball game. Raiders, after a 9-yard pickup, call on Marcus Allen. Bo with the lead block, and Marcus gets the first down with a dive out to about the 34-yard line. Cornelius Bennett's working on that left end defensively. And he's just one of a couple of fine rookie linebackers, Dave.
Well, Shane Conlon, number 58, is certainly a good rookie linebacker. He got trapped. You see, they gave him a little trap there. Marcus Allen showed him himself through that hole. Shane Conlon tried to jump at him, and Marcus Allen went around the other side. Sometimes you don't have to block the linebacker. He drew him through that little hole and then ran around the other side. A veteran can get that done.
The little subtleties that often can make the difference between success or failure on a given play. Wilson dumps it out of the backfield. Bo with a good catch, and look out across the 40 to the 44-yard line. Well, Bo Jackson showing us something right there. He not only can run effectively with that speed and that power, but he made a nice move to adjust to that football and make the grab.
Downfield, they're running patterns. Mark Wilson looks, says, I can't. Well, let's just see if we can get a little bit of yards. Well, let's get a little bit more yards. You give the ball to Bo Jackson, you never know exactly. The limit is how far the end zone is, how many yards you can get.
Jackson with a 14-yard touchdown reception early in the game for the Raiders TD. As you look at the numbers now for Bo on the day, 7 carries for 26 and 3 receptions for 46 yards. He has the 1 score. Marcus Allen, wow. Did you see how fast Cornelius Bennett was in there that time? There's the quickness of that rookie.
I wonder if he timed the snap. Second of all, Bo Jackson, did he get off the snap too late? Because he has to go up there and stop Bennett from coming down the line. And he has to stop that penetration so that the back can bounce outside. And that's an interesting thing. Has Bo Jackson been around long enough to get used to the cadence? And has Cornelius Bennett already jumped on as a defensive man to time the cadence so he gets across the line of scrimmage before anybody can get to him?
We understand that Wolford, the left tackle for the Bills, has a broken thumb. A right thumb has been broken. Don't expect to see him further. Wilson firing. Pass is complete. Pulled down by Trey Junkin, the tight end. They went to a 2 tight end or triple tight end formation. Burrows and Drain were there for the tackle for the Bills, and that's the first time that they've gone to a tight end other than Christensen in this ball game, and Junkin getting only his second reception of the season. His first one came some time back. Let's check scores here. Updating activity. 5:57 to go here in Los Angeles in a 10-7 Raider lead over Buffalo. We're going to wait until after this next play. The ball just inside Buffalo territory now as the Raiders go to work once again. Mueller was split wide to the right side and being chased by getting his pass off and completing it. Christensen at the 20, head down to the 16-yard line. Todd Christensen coming across the midfield picks up 33 yards before Conlon and Kelso can pull him down.
Now, if we can see, watch number 58 on your right side, Shane Conlon. He's in a zone. Strachan goes down the field, and he takes the defensive back deep, number 29. It's just a zone, but Conlon didn't get out wide enough. Todd Christensen, all he had to do is run down, take a little corner route. Strachan ran the zone deep, and the pass was in there. It was an excellent call against that zone. Conlon has to realize he's the outside guy. I've got to get deep and outside.
Vance Mueller with Allen in the backfield now, and Mueller is split out wide to the right. Loki Williams split wide left. Lofton in the slot on the left side now from the 16-yard line. Marcus with the football. Pulled down at the 12, close to the 11-yard line, and over on the other side of the field, Lofton is going at it with somebody of the Bills. They are really starting to try to mix it up. They were hooked up and they didn't want to separate.
LA Raider fight of the week.
I think it was Nate Odoms. We see number 37 over there talking with one of the officials. Ball at the 11-yard line. No, Odoms was playing peacemaker. It was somebody else over there. It may have been Burroughs. I've seen a 9. I'm not sure from that angle just who it was. This is Bo Jackson. No gain this time, and there's Shane Conlon. Joe Paterno called Shane Conlon simply the best linebacker he ever had at Penn State, and that's saying something because they've had some great linebackers in the history of that school.
Look at Shane Conlon. He's not just on a blitz. The Raiders don't expect him to come through. And that was an excellent call. The Raiders are pulling the guards and say, let's just blitz through there and see if we can get you in the backfield. It was a good call. The Raiders had no way of picking them up.
3:35 to play, first half. Raiders lead the Bills 10-7. Entertaining football game in this first half in Los Angeles. Allen and Jackson both in the backfield, but Wilson looking to throw. Has protection. Marcus Allen can't hang on at the 6-yard line. Heavy hit that time as Marcus tried to pull it down, but Ron Pitts out of UCLA, who's played some football in Southern California, making the defensive play, and Chris Barr coming on now for the field goal attempt. Wilson again will be the holder, and this one will be spotted at about the 23-yard line for a 33-yard attempt. 3:21 to play here, first half. Barr had one from 44 yards that was kind of a line driver that was short. He also hit a bit earlier on a shorter one of 22 yards. So he's 1 for 2 thus far this afternoon. From 33, curling just inside the upright. It is good. And so the Raiders have added 3 more to their advantage, which now totals 6. 13-7 Los Angeles lead over Buffalo. 3:17 yet to play here in this first half at the Coliseum.
All the excitement and raw enthusiasm of college basketball is back on NBC. Next Saturday, Digger Phelps leads the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame into the Windy City to battle Joey Meyer and the Blue Demons of DePaul. College basketball, it's the stuff weekends are made of on NBC.
On the heels of a 33-yard field goal by Chris Barr. Barr ready to kick off. The Raiders leading this one 13-7. Tasker, Porter, Mueller in the deep spots. This one being driven down the middle. And Porter misplays it all the way back now into the end zone, and they'll bring it out to the 20. Anxious moment there as Ricky Porter had a hard time getting the grasp on that football. 3:10 to go here in this first half. In case you joined us late, Bo Jackson scored on a 14-yard touchdown pass from Wilson. A couple of field goals by Barr to give the Raiders the 6-point advantage over the Bills.
A place here when the Steelers battle the Chargers.
Before your team takes the field, our team hits the air. NFL Live.
Longtime Raiders booster James Garner, the fine actor who used to fly up to Oakland when the Raiders were in Northern California for so many seasons every week to watch his team in action. Again here at the Coliseum today. Raiders up 6. Buffalo with the football from their own 20-yard line. Kelly with time, airing it out. Burkett at the 46-yard line in Raider territory. 35 yards on the pickup and protection for Kelly. And remember, Kelly now has Leonard Burton filling in for Will Wolford, who's out with a broken thumb in his offensive line.
One thing about a deep route, it doesn't take that much time to throw it if you get the ball away. A lot of people think to throw down the field deep, you need great protection. Joe Devlin's a pretty good offensive tackle. He's blocking against Howie Long right here. And Howie's just taking a straight charge. And the fact is the pattern got off. Howie was getting there rapidly enough, but that pattern didn't take that much time.
2:30 to play first half. Bills in Los Angeles territory. Kelly again with protection and again going deep. Andre Reed, super catch. He'll be ruled down just inside the 8-yard line. Andre Reed beat Sam Seal. Burkett last time beat Ron Fellows. Now remember, the starting corners, Haynes and Washington, are out with injuries. Seal and Fellows with their hands full on the last 2 plays.
This is just the flip side of the play before. Let's run down, let's run deep. We're getting man-to-man coverage. They're playing us tight. Buffalo last week never threw a pass over 15 yards downfield, and the Raiders knew that. This time they figured that let's take advantage of that. They don't think we're going to throw it deep. This time Buffalo decides we're going to throw the ball, and the Raiders weren't ready for it.
Dodge.
Raiders coach Tom Flores looking on as the Bills threaten. Kelly is hot. He's hit 7 in a row, and he has his ball club now at the 8-yard line. Porter inside the 5 to about the 3-yard line. Jerry Robinson making the tackle on Ricky Porter. Kelly has put up some numbers in this streak. He had consecutive passes of 35 and 37 yards gained. Now on the ground this time to Ricky Porter.
The effect of a soft corner. Look, there's nobody in Ricky Porter's space. He's turned upfield, and then he gets tackled by Robinson, who has to come all the way from the other side of the field. So the Bills are getting a big push on the Raider defensive line there in the linebackers. He took the ball up and got a good 6 yards.
Right side of the line, Hull in the middle, then Vogler and Devlin on the right side, and now the Bills are going to take a timeout. Got 1 minute and 20 seconds left to play in this first half. The first timeout for Buffalo as the Bills threaten at the 3-yard line here, trailing by a score of 13-7. Kelly has hit 7 consecutive passes, is now 10 for 15 for 170 yards. Pretty impressive numbers here in this first half. Buffalo looking for the touchdown that would tie it up and a conversion that would put them in front. Bills need to win. Indianapolis already knocking off Cleveland today in a low-scoring game to go 7-5, and Buffalo needs the win to keep pace in the AFC East. Miami and New York play in the Monday night game. Boy, Miami had to be stunned last week after being shut out 27-zip. You just don't expect that with a Dan Marino ball club. Napoleon McCallum on the sidelines. There's an interesting story. Played last year, ran for about 500 and some yards for the Raiders, scored a touchdown as an NFL rookie, and then was ordered back to active duty in the U.S. Navy, attending, I believe, for the first time this year. He was at practice yesterday, and he's taking in the ball game today down on the sideline with his colleagues, the Raiders. See the numbers on Kelly now, as he'll go to work at the Los Angeles 3-yard line with 1 minute 20 to play in this first half. Malcolm Taylor, nose tackle, playing in place of the injured Bill Pickell for the Raiders, suffered a slight strain to his right knee. He is expected to be back later in the ball game. Raiders playing without 3 of their normal starters defensively today. We mentioned the corners Washington and Haynes, also the nose tackle Pickell. Got a couple of tight ends in there right now. Play action fake to Byram. Touchdown. Butch Roll pulling it in. The tight end gets the 3-yard reception. He got a touchdown pass last week for the first score of his career. Well, he's got a streak going now. You see him bang helmets as he beat Van McElroy inside for the score.
Play fake. He's going to be open quick. He's going to be open fast. The ball's got to be there. An excellent throw. Ben McElroy actually read the play pretty well. He's got to come over on the play fake and pick up the tight end. But the ball was just thrown perfectly.
Norwood getting ready for the conversion attempt. Kidd handles the snap. Everything routine as he puts it through. And so for the first time in this one in Los Angeles, the Buffalo Bills, the resurging Bills, have taken a lead of 14-13. Stay with us from Los Angeles. Well, moments ago, Jim Kelly with his 17th consecutive touchdown pass in a ball game, hitting Butch Roll, who for the second consecutive week has caught one as a tight end, going 3 yards to give Buffalo the lead at 14-13. A minute 16 to go. Getting ready for Norwood's kickoff, Vance Mueller and Dokie Williams. And this is Williams from the 5-yard line. Hit hard at the 19. Porter, one of the first men down the field that time. 14-13. We have a minute and 12 left to play here in this first half, and the Raiders trail for the first time when they come back with the football. First half, I'm Gary Gerald along with Dave Casper in Los Angeles. The Raiders trailing for the first time after jumping out to an early 10-0 lead. One of the things that Tom Flores was concerned about was the young confidence level that's been building with the resurgence Buffalo Bills, and certainly it's been evident as they battle back from that 10-point deficit. We look now at the numbers for Mark Wilson in this first half. Operating from the 20-yard line. Swing it out to Marcus Allen on the left side. Marcus picking his way up to the 35-yard line before he's pushed out of bounds across the way. Shane Conlon and Nate Odoms are over there after about a 16-yard pickup. Allen coming out of the backfield.
It's a good play against the zone defense. You can see the linebackers dropping off. They got a lot of room to run here. Marcus Allen turns the ball up the field and gets out of bounds. It's a good block in there. Good play.
Stops the clock, 1:04 to go. Ball at the 36-yard line. You see Williams coming wide to the near side, and Lofton is split wide to the opposite side of the field. Once again, everybody out, setting up the screen. Allen trying to elude men and managing to do so. Gets out to about the 37 or 8-yard line, picks up a tough yard, and that's about all. They set up the screen very effectively that time, and Wilson trying to hurry the club right now to utilize the last 45 seconds of the first half. From the 38. This one is caught, but let's see. No, it will not stand. At the 48-yard line in Buffalo territory, Lofton was on the sideline, and so that stops the clock, but they don't get the yardage they were looking for. And they'll go to work from the 38-yard line, facing third down, about 8. Mark Wilson coming into this ball game. This is the 47th game he has started in the National Football League. As a starter, his record 30-16. Said that last Monday night's victory in Seattle was the most satisfying of his professional career. A big one indeed it was for the Raiders. 4-man rush against Wilson, who has time. Throws this one to the sidelines. Williams at the 50-yard line. Don't know if he was going for Dokie or if he was going for Bo. Jackson was a little short of Williams, and Williams got a hand. But the punting team has to come on now with 26 seconds to go. This will be the first time that we've taken a look at Stan Talley, the Raiders punter, who at 6'5" is about as tall a punter as you'll find in the National Football League, out of Texas Christian. Free agent acquisition. Ron Pitts, the lone return man. Talley's numbers on the year. Of course, when you think of the Raiders, you think of Ray Guy, for so many years, one of the premier punters, and the Bills almost got another block. They have had great success in that category this year, but they didn't quite get that one. And Talley's kick is down to the 19-yard line. 43 yards in the punt. You see 16 seconds remaining. Mueller was down there to down the ball for the Raiders. The Bills went for the block, almost got it. 16 seconds to go as Buffalo comes back with a football in a moment. Steve Tasker came to blocking Talley's punt right there. Got a piece of his foot with his hand rather than the football.
I feel he might have nicked it, as you see the official give the little nick sign, because he got enough of the punter that he could have been called for penalty, even though he hadn't got too much. You'd be surprised those officials, they want to take care of those skinny little punters.
4 punt blocks this season for the Bills and 5 partial blocks. Tom Flores on the sidelines calling the shots for the Raiders with 16 seconds to go, and the Raiders go to work defensively, and we'll see how Kelly and company elect to play this one here deep in their own territory and with a 1-point lead of 14-13. Ball just short of the 20-yard line after the first punt of the afternoon by Stan Talent. Marv Levy, head coach for the Bills. I tell you, this team's starting to come together. They've gone out and they've spent some money. Bill Polian, the general manager, and Ralph Wilson Jr., the owner. And the confidence level and the encouragement and the support of the fans in upstate New York. Bill's starting to get excited. Possibility of going 7-5 with a win today, and you see Kelly go on the knee, and that'll be the end of the first half here in Los Angeles. Now we've got a timeout that's been taken, so it's not going to be the end of the first half.
First timeout.
Raiders elect to take their first timeout. Does that surprise you at all, Dave, with that little time remaining?
Yes, it does. I figured both teams would be ready to go into the halftime, get everything all set up, and come on the second half. But the Raiders said, no, we're going to be different.
The last play of the first half. Mueller crashing straight ahead out close to the 30-yard line, just over the 30, and you see the seconds tick down to 5, and now another timeout is taken. And again, this is taken by the Raiders, and that looked to be clearly a first down situation. Now I am somewhat mystified as to what happened right there. Marv Levy's not happy. He's not happy about something.
I think he's a little bit more than mystified. Might be the terminology. Some other word.
He's working on that gum pretty good right now. Marv Levy at age 59, been around this game for a lot of years, 30 years, coaching veteran. Phi Beta Kappa graduate out of Coe College in Iowa and has a master's in English history from Harvard. Well, it doesn't take a master's to figure out now, I don't think, that this is the final play of the first half. It is finally over in a kind of a strange little progression on those last few plays. It's a 14-13 Buffalo lead here in Los Angeles over the LA Raiders. The NFL Live after these messages from your local station.
Segment, but first, let's check the standings right now. And of course, there are games in progress. Another tonight, an important one, Bears and Vikings. And we've got the Jets and the Dolphins tomorrow night. But as of right now, beginning with the AFC East, it's the Colts who rule. They upset the Browns today in Cleveland 9-7. Indy was an 8-point underdog. They led all the way in this game. Now, the other 4 clubs have games in progress, or in the case of the Jets and Dolphins, scheduled for tomorrow night. The interesting thing about the AFC East, not only do the Colts lead, but they have all the tiebreakers going their way. They have beaten every team in the division at least once, and they've beaten the Jets twice.
And the neat thing about this team is they've got one player, Eric Dickerson, an impact player, has come on and convinced all these guys on this team that they can win. Bentley's playing a lot better than he's played before, and with Bentley and Dickerson, it takes all the pressure off of Hogaboom, and these guys are playing very well.
Dickerson, by the way, had his streak of consecutive 100-yard games snapped at 4 today. He rushed for 98.
Doesn't care. He won the game, and that's the most important thing. But isn't it amazing, Bob, when you see a team that gets an offensive player like Dickerson, how it seems to help the defense play so much better. They figure if they hold him, we got Dickerson in the game. With Dickerson and Bentley, we can score.
Obviously, having an effective ground game keeps the defense off the field, too.
Exactly.
All right, AFC Central. We've got a 3-way tie for the top spot. Cleveland beaten by Indianapolis. Houston bounces back from 2 straight bad weeks to demolish the Chargers. And Pittsburgh is able to win at home against Seattle. And the Pittsburgh situation is interesting, Paul. Everybody maligns this team, Mark Malone especially, the lowest-rated starting quarterback in the National Football League. But there they are with a shot at the playoffs.
The only person in Pittsburgh that didn't want Malone out of town happens to be Chuck Noll, who's the coach. I mean, I've never seen so much controversy about a quarterback in my life. But the defense of Pittsburgh, and that is the total key to it, the defense of Pittsburgh, they just seem to shut people down at will.
The Pittsburgh defense has been directly responsible for 6 touchdowns this year on fumble returns and interception returns. And the ground game, even with Ernest Jackson hurt, did the job today. Frank Pollard had better than 100 yards, Walter Abercrombie around 70, and that allowed Mark Malone to play it close to the vest. He tried only 18 passes and completed 12.
But guys, let's not forget about Houston. Finally, the future is now in Houston. They've been talking for years about how they had all these first-round draft choices. It seems to me that now they're bringing it all together because they're staying right in that race.
All right, now on to the AFC West, where the Chargers at one time were 8-1. Their replacement team, of course, was 3-0. But they have now lost 3 consecutive games, and pending the outcome of the Broncos game with the Patriots, it's Denver in first place, and Seattle blew a golden opportunity by losing today at Pittsburgh. You put that together with their Monday night loss at home against the Raiders, 2 games they expected to win, and they are not in the kind of shape they expected to be in that division.
I didn't like Seattle's game today against Pittsburgh, Bob, and I'll tell you why.
Neither did Chuck Knox.
Well, I know he didn't, but you take your team in there and try to run against a team that can play defense against the run, the Pittsburgh Steelers. They were just sitting there waiting for it. You got to go up top and start throwing the ball. This is some of the things I've said before. I just worry sometimes about the game plan of Seattle's when they get into important games.
To back up what you said, they gave Kurt Warner the ball 22 times. He gained 69 yards, only about 3 yards a crack.
And they'll give them that.
I don't think they have the ability to change. I think whatever they do well, that's what they have to do in almost every game, and that's one of their weaknesses. They don't have the ability to say, we can't run, so we're going to pass. They try to run anyway. And I know they're in panic up there because last year, about this time, they took this same dip. You know, they were right up in the top, and just about this time of the season, they started to fade away. So I'm sure that's on their mind.
All right, let's zip through the NFC. In the East, Washington has clinched not only a playoff spot, but they have clinched the division title with the help of a 3-0 replacement team. Nobody else is 500 in that division. Everybody else flirting with elimination or else already eliminated. How good do you think Washington is?
No, they're a lot better than Dallas.
That's good enough for that division. That was remarkably concise.
I know, I saw that thing up there that Dallas has lost 4 more games than they have.
I think Washington's very strong. I mean, it reminds me of the '82 season. During the strike, they really came to the front, and they've done that this year. They, during the strike this year, they had a chance to get their injured players healed. They came back strong, and they are probably the odds-on favorite team. Well, them in San Francisco to go all the way.
Wait a minute. Something's going to be heard from the Bears and the Vikings, who meet tonight in the NFC Central, and there's the situation there. Only the Bears and Vikings have playoff aspirations. Now, Minnesota's replacement team went 0-3. And that is what's knocked them out of genuine contention for the division championship and has them thinking about a wild card.
You know, the strange thing about this is, did you expect Chicago to go in there as an underdog? The Vikings are a strong football team.
By a point and a half, they're underdog.
Jerry Burns has put together a team. They've got some experience, and I think that they're going to give Chicago all they can handle tonight. Matter of fact, I picked Minnesota.
All right, now, wait a minute. I know you want to say something. We only got 30 seconds, so we got to take a look at the NFC West, where San Francisco was a winner today. They have not clinched the division. New Orleans still very much alive with a crack at that, but San Francisco has clinched at least a wild card spot. And New Orleans is in the playoffs, and they can stay close in the hunt for the division championship if they beat Tampa Bay. That game still in progress. Another day, my friend.
I'll be here.
Here in Los Angeles, Gary Gerould with Dave Casper. We saw the Raiders jump out to an early 10-point advantage. The Bills have come back, however, and lead it at halftime 14-13 as they look for victory number 7 on the year. NFL Live will return with more halftime activities, including a current update of scores after these messages.
Welcome to those of you watching Buffalo and the Raiders. Let's check the other scores. New England is threatening with 14 seconds to play in the first half at Mile High Stadium. They haven't won there in a while. They've lost 6 straight there, but they are winning today 14-3 and threatening for more. In the game you're watching at the half, Buffalo in front of the Raiders, 14-13. New Orleans trying to clinch a playoff spot for the first time in their history and win for the 9th time in 12 outings, leading Tampa Bay 28-10. Bobby Hebert has thrown for 2 touchdowns. Vinny Testaverde starts this game at quarterback for Tampa Bay. He's run for their only touchdown, but he's fumbled 3 times. He's lost 2 of those fumbles, and both of the fumbles lost led directly to New Orleans touchdowns. Indianapolis won today against Cleveland. The score was 9-7 on 3 Dean Biasucci field goals. Now, here's where Cleveland could have won it. At the end of a long drive, Ernest Biner, in a goal-to-go situation, fumbles the ball, and Mike Pryor recovers. This is in the 4th quarter. It was the best chance for the Browns. Indy wins it 9-7. Eric Dickerson held to 98 yards. Good day for anybody else, but it snaps his longest streak of 4 consecutive games over 100. San Francisco and Green Bay, the Niners have now clinched a playoff spot, not the division, but at least a wild card in the NFC West. They defeat Green Bay 23-12. What a day it was for Joe Montana. Here's Montana going to his favorite target, Jerry Rice, who has now caught a touchdown pass in 10 consecutive games. That's one shy of the NFL record. He has scored 15 touchdowns this year, and the record for touchdown receptions in a season is held by Mark Clayton of the Dolphins, who caught 18 of them for scores in 1984. So Rice most definitely has a crack at that. Montana has thrown 29 touchdown passes this year, 15 of them caught by Rice. Here's what Joe Montana did today. He completed his first 17. That gave him 22 consecutive completions dating back to last week, and that is an NFL record. Quickly moving along, the Giants went to overtime, and finally, on a Raul Alegre field goal, they beat the Eagles. The score there in OT was 23-20. Pittsburgh over Seattle. The final score there is 13-9, so Pittsburgh's in a 3-way tie in the AFC Central for first place with the Oilers and the Browns. Washington clinches the championship in the NFC East. They win at St. Louis 34-17. Houston bounces back from 2 straight losses. They drop San Diego, at least temporarily, out of first place in the AFC West. This was part of it. Keith Bostic on a safety blitz. He jars the ball away from Dan Fouts. It winds up in the hands of Robert Lyles for a 55-yard touchdown. Houston goes on to win today 33-18. Elsewhere, Atlanta comes up with a big upset. They came in at 2-9. They beat Dallas 21-10, and Dallas is all but finished in the playoff race. Cincinnati finally wins at home. They'd lost 6 consecutive games at Riverfront this year. They win in overtime 30-27 against Kansas City on Jim Breach's 32-yard field goal in OT after Nick Lowry had tied it with a 32-yarder of his own on the last play of regulation. It was almost a case of Cincinnati blowing yet another game. They led 17-3 before finally winning it in overtime. And the Rams are winners today at Detroit, 37-16. So the Rams are on a roll now. They've won 4 straight games. Charles White went over 100 yards for the game and the first in the league to go over 1,000 for a season. Folks, they got to give me more than 3 minutes for this. Back after this from your local stations.
Here in Los Angeles, both ball clubs returning to the Coliseum floor. Buffalo leading this one 14-13. Gary Gerould with Dave Casper, and you have to be a little bit impressed with the way the Bills came back after the Raiders got on top 10-0.
Oh boy, the first half the Raiders, all kinds of new plays, different plays, trick plays, put a lot of points on the board. And Buffalo took it, and then they slowly came back, and they didn't get it all right away. They hung in there. It didn't seem to phase them. They seemed to act like a veteran team, and now they've got the advantage, I think.
Let's take a look at some halftime numbers. The total yardage very, very close, both over 200 yards. And the passing numbers put up by both Wilson, 146 yards, and Kelly with 173 plus. Been impressive. And Bo Jackson figured particularly early as he scored 1 touchdown on the throw from Wilson.
It's going to be a strange game where Bo Jackson from now on is not an important part. Anybody that good is a very important part of any offense.
Well, he ends up with only 22 yards rushing in the first half, 46 yards as a receiver, but he has the 1 touchdown that the Raiders have scored at this point. As they're ready now to go back to this second half. But when you've got that tandem, Marcus Allen coupled with Bo Jackson, you can do an awful lot of things in that backfield.
Puts a defense in a tough situation. Who do you watch, and who's the dangerous person out there? Matter of fact, both of them are.
14-13 is our score here in Los Angeles. Raiders, of course, having broken that longest losing streak in the history of the ball club on Monday night. This second half kickoff brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers. Bills will be kicking off, or we're getting the ball in place on the tee. And for the Raiders, getting the return men, Vance Mueller and Dokie Williams back into the deep spots, positioned at the goal line as we're ready to get third quarter action underway. Dokie Williams, a yard deep. Across the 15, seam opens up on the sideline, but he's tripped up. Diving through there, Jamie Mueller to make the tackle. Vance Mueller was the lead blocker for Williams that time. The Muellers, incidentally, are not related. We'll take another look as he's upended just when it looked like that sideline was starting to open up.
Well, the sideline was open. There's not a whole lot of people there, but Mueller makes a good tackle. It was set up. He took it up the middle and then veered outside. He sucked every bit in the middle. It was just an excellent defensive play to save a big gain.
Raiders took the early lead at 10-0, only to see the Bills come back. They have Marcus Allen and Bo Jackson in the backfield. The play-action fake. Wilson over the middle completes to Lofton at the 42-yard line. Nice grab by Lofton down on a knee for a 17-yard pickup. You hear the pop that time when Bo Jackson had a little block there for Wilson.
Bo Jackson's a pretty strong man.
Yellow. Yes,
you know, that was a heck of a collision. That was football at its best.
That was Shane Conlon, the rookie linebacker, who was extended greetings there by the other rookie, Mr. Jackson. From the 42, Jackson with a football. He's got some room across midfield. There's that shoulder down, and he gets 4 more to the 41-yard line.
And a great block by Marcus Allen.
16-yard pickup. And oh, how they complement one another in the backfield.
No, Marcus Allen gets to the man coming in the backfield, Talley, in a hurry. And that causes the soft corner. And again, Bo Jackson moving up the field has got the power. But we saw that happen when Bennett got into the backfield into Marcus Allen's face. Marcus Allen knows how to get to the linebacker in a hurry. Don't worry how good the block is. Just make sure he doesn't get in the backfield.
So the Raiders impressive on this opening series here in the third quarter. Jackson in motion, this time bottom of the screen. Wilson looking the other way. Lofton at the 5. Touchdown Raiders. James Lofton, a 7-time Pro Bowler, getting his 4th touchdown reception of the year. This one for 41 yards out.
Lofton knows how to use his body, doesn't he? Leans against the defender, burrows, catches the ball. That's experience for you. It adds up to 6 points.
Well, it took just over a minute and a half. And the Raiders have marched virtually the length of the field. The drive started out at the 25 or 26-yard line. Lofton with his 3rd reception. Barr on for the conversion attempt out of the grasp of Wilson. He knocks it through. And just underway in the second half, and just like that, the Los Angeles Raiders have come back to take a 6-point lead at 20-14. The combination in the backfield of Allen and Jackson on the ground and opening things up then with passes to Lofton, and Wilson responding with his 2nd touchdown pass of the day.
It's Cornelius Bennett in the pass rush. The arm rip doesn't work anymore because he also gets help from Marcus Allen. The arm rip is no longer an effective measure because of the new rules.
Lofton has really been catching his stride in recent games for the Raiders. He missed the preseason camps, not the actual exhibition season, in the transition because of litigation problems in Green Bay, and then got a bit of a late start coming in and familiarizing himself with this organization. Then there was the 4 weeks of the strike. Then back, and in recent weeks, he has been receiving more and more balls and is becoming more and more a factor as he now has scored for the 4th time this year. The deep men, Tasker, Porter, and Mueller. You see them just inside the 5-yard line as Barr is ready to kick it off for the Raiders, who now lead it 20-14. Driving it to Porter at the 5-yard line. Ricky Porter swings outside. There's a penalty marker down, but he's across the 40 to the 43-yard line. 39 yards on the return by Ricky Porter, but there's a penalty marker down. Stephon Adams was there with the tackle. And Ben Dreith says this one will work against the Raiders, so you've got to imagine it'll be declined, and the Bills will go to work.
The kicking team, they decline the penalty. It's 1st down.
You understand that?
All right, Ben. I enjoy watching that man work. Make no bones about it. He's one of my favorites. Close to the 44-yard line. Remember, Porter was the man that had a touchdown taken away when it was determined earlier that he had stepped out of bounds on what appeared to be a 59-yard touchdown reception. The Bills did later score in that same series. This is Byram. Carl Byram charging off the right side, picking up a couple of yards out across the 45-yard line. Matt Millen and Howie Long combining for the tackle. Numbers for Kelly in the first half today, pretty impressive, 11 of 16. We mentioned earlier that Kelly, in his 58 games as a professional, has never had a game where he has completed less than 50% of his passes. And with his touchdown pass to Butch Roll earlier, he extends a streak now of 17 straight games where he has thrown for a score. All kinds of movement and contact here. Whistles and penalty markers abound.
At halftime, I stated that I thought Buffalo had the advantage.
88 offense, false start, 5 yards, 2nd down.
I thought they had a little momentum working for them. However, I think the Raiders threw that right back in my face because they came right out and just put it right to Buffalo, and Buffalo's a little bit in shambles right now. They're a little surprised.
Talking about shambles, look what New England is doing to Denver at halftime, and New Orleans comfortably in front of Tampa Bay in the other late games this afternoon. Ball moved back to the 43-yard line after that call against Pete Metzelaars. 2nd down and 11. Harmon is wide to the left side. Kelly being pressured but getting it off and well short of the intended receiver. A big push that time by Sean Jones, number 99. You see him helping Malcolm Taylor up. Taylor was out for a while with a strain to the knee, and they said he'd be back, and he is in the lineup defensively now as we get a good tight look at Kelly.
Kelly's looking right. He's looking the defense off. Now he wants to throw. A big man right in his face.
Boom.
There's no way in the world he could get enough oomph on the ball to get it to the receiver.
6 defensive backs on the field now for the Raiders. Raiders scoring early in the 3rd quarter to take the lead, 20-14. Out of the shotgun. Kelly swings it out here to Porter. Porter out of bounds in the vicinity of the 45-yard line. You know, Jim Kelly has only played in the Coliseum one other time, and the day that he enjoyed here for Houston in the USFL against the LA Express, February of 1985, was the biggest of his professional career. He threw for 574 yards and 5 touchdown passes. You would think, based on that performance, that he probably likes this place a whole lot.
I'm sure he liked it that day.
Punting situation. Here's Kidd. They handle the punting chores for Buffalo, and Chris Woods in the deep spot. Waiting back at the 14-yard line. Voids a couple of men, but then is dropped at the 22 after a 42-yard punt and a 9-yard return. 20-14 is our score. Raiders leading the Buffalo Bills. Los Angeles will have the football when we come back in a moment.
Today's game is brought to you by BMW, the ultimate driving machine. To arrange a thorough test drive, phone your nearest BMW dealer. By Hewlett-Packard, computer solutions from the people who never stop asking, what if? And by Norelco electric razors for a close and comfortable shave.
In Los Angeles and on the sidelines watching his teammates, Jim Plunkett, who yesterday celebrated his 40th birthday. Saw him at the Raider Practice Center yesterday. And also down there was Gene Upshaw, who was honored on the pregame ceremonies today, was accorded his Hall of Fame ring, the 4th member of the Raiders organization to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Jackson, the motion man. Allen takes the pitch out, working on the right side. Boy, listen to those pads crack down there on the sideline. Out to about the 28-yard line.
When Bo Jackson comes in on motion here in this play, he's going to try and get a block. Cornelius Bennett is the man he's going to try and hit, but he says he sees him out of the corner of his eye. But look what Marcus Allen does. He avoids him. That's a good running back. The block was not made the way it was supposed to be, but Marcus Allen got 4 yards. He's not a bad back either.
Not bad at all. A lot has been said in the Los Angeles area this week about the unselfish attitude that Marcus Allen has displayed as being a lead blocker, but of course his ability is still unquestioned. Here's Wilson with a pass out to Dokie Williams on the far sideline. Williams out to the 40-yard line, so a quick pickup of 13. And again, Mark Wilson moving this ball club to start the second half, much like he did to start the ball game.
Mark Wilson, last 2 games, has played excellent. Look at, he just sets up. He had a heck of a pocket there to set up and throw. It's a good pass. As long as he gets that kind of protection and the receivers run the good routes, he's going to have a good day. And he's really had a good couple of games now, right in a row.
Williams comes wide to the right side this time with Lofton left. Pitch out to Jackson. There's that play on the corner. And once he gets around the corner, you just don't know. With that great acceleration and burst of speed out to midfield.
In order to get around the corner, you've got to lock in the defensive end. Here's Bruce Smith. They pull the guard on him. And they flipped the ball to Bennett, to Jackson, because he's so fast. They actually pulled the guard to get to Smith. And it takes an exceptional amount of speed to be able to make the block from a guard who reaches out the defensive end in order to make that play work. Jackson's an unbelievable person to be that big with that amount of speed.
I believe he had a great quote. He said after watching Monday night's game, he slept with the lights on. He was so scared of Bo Jackson. This is Marcus Allen on the near side this time, being tripped up. see Radisek in there along with Cornelius Bennett. One of the Raiders shaken up, and that looks like one of the interior linemen. That's Steve Wright, number 66, who's down. And boy, they just don't have an awful lot of depth in that interior line. We mentioned earlier this afternoon that this was the 9th different offensive line combination to be used this year. The Raiders have had as many as 24 men on the injured list. And they've got another member of their club shaken up right now. While they attend to Steve Wright, we'll break away for these messages.
NFL plays here when the Steelers battle the Chargers.
Before your team takes the field, our team hits the air. NFL Live.
Buffalo coach Marv Levy looking on. Steve Wright came out of the ball game under his own power. Appeared to be a leg cramp, and we understand he will be back in. Bruce Wilkerson, 280-pounder out of Tennessee, a rookie, second-round draft pick, is now in his place at right tackle. Mark Wilson looking right over the middle. Todd Christensen at the 39-yard line. Scott Radisek with the tackle. Penalty marker is down, however, on this one. So we'll be hearing from Ben Dreith momentarily.
Bruce Smith was making a holding call, so we'll see if Ben agrees, which he does.
You mentioned Bruce Smith. Bruce Smith has had a harrowing week.
Number 51, hands to the face. 10 yards, first down.
Number 78 in the top of your screen is the one I think is going to get held, because he was certainly making the holding call. I don't know if I'd call that holding. I think they called him a Bruce Smith. That isn't illegal enough. I mean, the officials got to stay out of the game. Unless they grab you by the face mask and throw you down, forget it.
Raiders have had their share of penalties through the course of the season, and that includes today's penalties. Lance Mueller now in the backfield along with Marcus Allen. Started to mention Bruce Smith's harrowing week. We'll get to that in a moment here. Right now, Wilson ready to direct the Raiders once again. Raiders leading this one, 20-14, and here's Bo Jackson. Turning it up on that left side to about the 47, maybe the 48-yard line. Darryl Talley was there with the tackle. Started to say Bruce Smith was involved in a car accident back in Buffalo area near Rich Stadium this past week. Swerved to avoid an animal, and his expensive foreign-made automobile got into the guardrail and was totaled. He was not injured in the situation, and now he's having to contend with Bo Jackson. So you're talking about a couple of car wrecks here this week, actually. Steve Wright has come back in the ball game. See the numbers this season for Bruce Smith. He has been impressive now in his 3rd year. Remember, just a couple of years ago, he was the first player selected in the collegiate draft. Wilson looking to throw once again. Has protection wide open over the middle, but dropping the football is James Lofton. Boy, James going to feel bad about that one, because at the 35-yard line, he had the defender beat. And you see that ironic smile on his face as he goes back to the huddle.
It was not meant to be caught. Some balls just come at you, and I had it happen to me in the end zone one time. It was coming, I saw it all the way, and I didn't like the ball, or something was wrong. And you can say all you want about you're thinking to run, but some balls, you just say that there's something wrong with that. Get it out of here. You knock it down. They just aren't meant to be caught.
4 times in All-Pro selection, Dave Casper relating that particular tale, one that I'm sure he would like to have forgotten. Mark Wilson backpedaling and firing again, and this time it's Christensen, juggling act, hangs on to the 30-yard line. When you talk about your concentration around the football, I think that might be a prime example, Dave.
Definitely stayed on the ball. You notice they do it in the same area. Interesting situation. Lofton was open in the middle. They say, well, let's get another receiver there. Ball comes to Todd Christensen. A good hit. Almost fumbles the ball. Holds on to it. Pretty good play. Darn good play.
23-yard pickup, as a matter of fact, and Mark Wilson is putting together some numbers. He's sneaking up on the 250-yard mark passing. He's not had a 300-yard performance this season. He's now 15 out of 25 for 241 yards. From the 29. Look at a little misdirection. This is Lofton with the football and a man out front, but it's not going to work. Great penetration, or pursuit, I should say, by Sean McNanny, who was not fooled. 9 minutes and 12 seconds to go in this quarter. 20-14, our score here in Los Angeles as we update other activity. The finals in overtime. Allegre got the field goal for the Giants win. Had a couple of overtimers here today. See that Houston had a big victory over San Diego. Washington a winner. Pittsburgh surprising Seattle. All other finals now. And the other overtime game, Cincinnati with a breach field goal beat Kansas City. Wilson dropping back, swings it out to Marcus Allen. Shakes off one man, gets down close to the 20. So he turned adversity into a 10-yard pickup. Shane Conlon with the tackle, bumping him out of bounds.
Talent can make a big play out of a seemingly small play. Mark Wilson here doesn't want to go to Marcus Allen. Look, he's looking downfield. You see Todd Christensen cross. Said, well, I'm just going to see what happens. And Marcus Allen takes talent and makes a big play. That's just physical talent, the ability to shake loose and get down the field.
And that was Cornelius Bennett, who thought he had him in the grasp and ended up coming up short. So at the 21-yard line, it's 3rd down. Raiders still need about close to 2 yards. Pitch out, Jackson. He's going to get that 2 plus a little more down to the 14-yard line. And again, the first man to hit him was Kelso, but it was Nate Odoms who finally brought him down. You're looking at 230 pounds turning that corner, and he's been trying to turn that left side many times today.
You saw Marcus Allen pin in the linebacker, and Jackson doesn't waste any time. Now watch him. He gets through the first person and still stays on his feet to hit the second one. That's an awful lot of quickness. But you notice he didn't waste any time. He just went up the field, lowered those shoulders, and he got a lot of yards.
221 yards in the victory Monday night. Nothing in the way of sensational numbers today, but he's been effective. This is Marcus Allen on the left side. When we talk about effectiveness, he gets down close to the 5-yard line before Conlon and Kelso team up once again. And the Raiders are taking it on the ground now to the Buffalo Bills.
Turned it around that time. This time Marcus Allen gets the ball. Number 34. There he goes. Big Foles blocking ahead of him. The Raiders are also getting a lot of blocking from their offensive line. You notice that they get the push against the defensive linemen. There's no scraping from inside. Those linebackers can't get out there, which means the linemen are doing a good job too.
Doki Williams to the near side. Lofton split wide to the left side. Allen and Jackson are the setbacks. Pitch out, Marcus Allen. This time Jackson with the lead block, and Marcus is pulled down at about the 2-yard line. Once again running to the left. Scott Radisek coming across to make the tackle as one of the inside backers for Buffalo. We asked Tom Flores yesterday about the significance of the Monday night win after 7 straight losses, and he said simply, we knew that we were better than we had showed, and to finally prove it has given that ball club a real lift.
You know, a person who's not being mentioned here is Randy Holloway. A ball player attained after all the fiasco with the strike. Look at these first downs this half, 8 for the Raiders. But Randy Holloway is doing excellent run blocking against Bruce Smith.
3 tight ends. Allen diving into the end zone. Touchdown, Los Angeles. Kind of slithered in there, going that final yard. It's a 2-yard touchdown credit to Marcus Allen, his 4th of the season.
There's offensive line blocking. Number 51, Lewis, there getting his good block. The offensive line is an uncredited person here. They're really doing an excellent job. We could be having a replay. I guess it's just...
Especially in the face of all the adversity of all the injuries that offensive line has suffered this season. They were effective Monday nights, and they have been effective again here tonight, or this afternoon. The conversion attempt is good by Barr. The 53rd career rushing touchdown by Marcus Allen has given the Raiders now a 27-14 lead over the Buffalo Bills. We'll see how Kelly and company respond after this break. Well, back in Los Angeles, and this is more like what you expect, traditional power football from the Raiders. That offensive line doing a good job.
Running strong, running left, as they used to do in the past. Awfully good, tough football. There's no secret to the success of the second half. It's good, hard football.
Raiders, who were down at halftime, leading now 27-14, and another kick deep in the end zone, and no opportunity for Porter to run it out. So Kelly will go to work here at the 20-yard line. Now with Jim Kelly, you remember their performance particularly in Miami earlier this season when he rallied his club from, I believe, 21 down to come back, and you saw how he rallied them in the first half today to take the lead. You just never know. Denver has come back to within 7 now of New England. New Orleans still cruising along from the 20-yard line. We've got 6:46 to play, third quarter, and a 27-14 Raider lead over Buffalo. Shadow starting to lengthen a bit here in the Coliseum. Kelly going right to the air immediately and completing his pass at midfield. Another great effort by Andre Reed. Boy, he's pulled in 2 spectacular ones today, and Kelly with a perfectly thrown ball, full stride for Reed for 38 yards.
The way Kelly can throw the ball, you wonder why they've been trying to run it today. Good pass protection. Now, this is what you call a seam. It's basically a zone. He just splits the difference between the 2 ball players. The ball's got to get there pretty fast. It can't be led high. It's got to get there in a more of a low trajectory, but he split the seam.
So at the 42-yard line in Raiders territory, Kelly sets the Bills. Reed split wide to the near side. Burkett wide to the right. Looking for Burkett. Got him at the 38-yard line. Shakes off 2 men. Still to the 34-yard line. It took 3 to bring him down.
He's been watching Bo Jackson.
Van McElroy was finally the man who did the job. Oh, it's fun to watch a ball game like this day where we haven't seen just a minimum of turnovers. It's been almost an error-free ball game in that respect.
Very, very good football. The Buffalo Bills have something to show now. Their character is going to come out because the last 2 series the Raiders have beaten them up and they've got to perform. But so far they've really come back here in this drive.
5.5 minutes to go, 3rd quarter. Bills on the move at the Raider 33. 3-man, now a 4-man rush as Kelly floats it out. Metzelars down to the 8-yard line. The big tight end at 6'7" pulls one in and rambles down inside the 10 for a 26-yard pickup. Robinson and McElroy are there on the tackle on the first ball caught today by Pete Metzelars.
The Raiders went to a zone. The toughest thing about zone is throwing over the defender, but when you have a man at 6'8", you can throw over him and it doesn't ever have to come down. Most of the time with a regular receiver, it's got to come down. But hey, that ball was still up there about 8.5 feet. He caught it.
Dropped it right in over the top of Jerry Robinson, and now at the 8-yard line, 1st and goal. Harmon on the pitch out. Got a convoy out there in front of him. Turns the corner. Great effort, Harmon, for the score. He goes 8 yards, and he had 3 men out in front, and he needed them all. But then, once he got around the corner, it was a tightrope job, and he's in for his 2nd touchdown of the day. Just like that, the Bills are back.
Now, no, it doesn't look like anything's happening, but nobody gets off their man. If you can just stay with the defenders, they'll run into each other sooner or later. Every man get a man, every good man get 2. Bum Phillips said that.
Harmon came into this game having not scored a rushing touchdown. The injured Rob Riddick had been the man in that department for the Bills this season. But now Harmon has a pair here today, both from a similar distance and on the same type of play. Conversion attempt from Scott Norwood. Ball was never snapped. Penalty markers and contact all over the place. We mentioned Rob Riddick. Incidentally, he's still leading the league in scoring, 7 touchdowns, and he went out with a broken collarbone several weeks ago in the Denver game, and he is expected that he may be back in the next couple of weeks. Here's Ben Wright.
Defense made contact. Defense.
Take another look at this scoring play by Harmon.
The biggest thing to remember is look at Howie Long. He's doing well, but everybody runs into each other, and that's the point. On a sweep, the worst thing you can do is try and go for the quick kill on your defender. Just stay in their way, and hopefully they'll run into each other because they've got to get to the ball. That's the equalizer. You can beat your blocker up, but sooner or later you've got to get to the ball, and they never did. Good run, good blocking.
Well, there's the happy man Harmon on the far sideline. We'll get ready for this conversion attempt again. Kelly went to the air immediately in a couple of long strikes, and then Harmon taking it the final 8 yards. Scott Norwood knocks another one through. So just like that, in this very entertaining ball game, it's back to a 6-point difference at 27-21. Stay with us in Los Angeles.
Next Sunday.
Machine Gun Kelly leads the Buffalo Stampede into the Hoosier Dome to take on Eric Dickerson and the Colt 45.
Or veteran gunslinger Dan Fouts tries to keep his Chargers atop the AFC West as they host the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Next Sunday, the action starts with NFL Live.
Well, that's what's in store coming up next Sunday on NBC. Got some interesting matchups coming up next week. And, of course, those playoff spots starting to loom very large now. And, boy, the standings undergoing a bit of a scramble today based on the results. Raiders will be at Kansas City. San Diego trying to regroup as they host Pittsburgh in Southern California. Back here in Los Angeles, 27-21 for the Raiders. Dokie Williams. Boom! Look at that hit right there. Downfield immediately was Wayne Davis on the special teams. And, of course, Marv Levy is a man who takes such great pride in his special teams. It's a third offense, a third defense, and a third special teams. And Marv Levy, who was one of the first to really get into special teams when he coached with George Allen, who was the Rams head coach back about 1970, has long been an advocate. And, of course, we've talked earlier about the punt blocks this year. Just one facet of the special team play has really made an impact with the Bills. Nice tackle there. The ball, they start at the 15-yard line. The Raiders with Allen and Jackson in the backfield, leading by 6. Wilson to the air to Bo Jackson. Jackson dragged down about the 27-yard line, so they'll pick up the first down and a 12-yard gain immediately. Dwight Drain coming over to drag down Bo.
The previous series, they're running left, now stick ball to the right. Remember, he's playing against a strong safety, 45 Drain. Bo Jackson has a lot more speed. Drain has to play off and give him that pass. And once you play off and give him the pass, oh my God, now he's running at you. It's a simple play, but it's a good offensive concept.
Coming into this game today, Bo Jackson had caught 11 balls. He's added 4 to that total today as we look at Marcus Allen. Marcus out close to the 34-yard line. Ray Bentley in there on the tackle. Bentley has had problems with rib injuries of late. You see him there with the shirt tail out in the backside as Allen walks back to the huddle. 3.5 minutes to go here, third quarter. 27-21 is our score. The Raiders, who jumped out to a 10-0 lead, but trailed at halftime, 14-13, came back to open up a 13-point advantage at 27-13, and now lead at 27-21. Wilson trying to add to those numbers, and he does. This is Lofton, who's still not down. Pulled down at the 49-yard line. Penalty marker down. Shane Conlon and Mark Kelso make the tackle. Ben Greith will give us the indication.
5 yards.
So they'll tack on a few more.
Raiders are mixing it up. Good pass protection. Lofton, now he's going to try and make the play on his own, and let's see where the penalty comes in. Obviously right in there.
Well, Lofton, who had already scored today on a 41-yard reception, pulls that one in, and they move to the 45-yard line, and Wilson going for more over the middle, overthrowing Christensen this time. 2:44 to play, third quarter. Mark Wilson putting up some good numbers in this contest today and not sitting on a 6-point lead.
Bruce Smith on the right side. Randy Holloway signed up with him. Now they slide out. There's Lewis, and they're double teaming Randy Holloway. What they did is they take their offensive line and slide out against him and Kaiser, number 52, to make sure that any game they run is picked up. It's a zone blocking. But that's awfully good offensive line block by the Raiders that is showing in Marsh Wilson's passing.
Bo Jackson being chased. Smith drags him down.
Didn't get him that time.
Nope. Check those other late games going on around the country today. Just 2 others, and New England still leading Denver in the third, and Tampa Bay over New Orleans. Now that's a different score than what we had seen earlier, I believe. We had New Orleans comfortably on top earlier. We need to double check on that ball game. I think it's 31-10. I think that was the last one we saw. I'm not certain of that. We'll try to double check for you. Ball at the 48-yard line in Buffalo territory. Wilson with time, drills it. Nice defensive play. Coming across was Wayne Davis. Lofton, the intended receiver, and Lofton immediately turned to appeal to one of the officials. But Wayne Davis, a third-year player out of Indiana State, got a hand in there to knock it down. We'll be taking a look at a pretty good defensive effort here on the part of Davis. Getting ready for a punting situation. We'll take a quick look before Talley's punt.
There's the pass going to Lofton. Good timing. You see, if he would have grabbed him with his left hand before he would have tapped the ball, they would have thrown the flag, but it was good timing.
Here's Talley's punts. Pitts is standing back here. It's a short kick, and now he's going to watch it roll inside the 10-yard line. No chance for the return, down at about the 8. 40 yards on the kick by Stan Talley. We have 1 minute and 47 seconds left to play here in the third quarter. Cloud cover building up a little bit. The sunshine that we enjoyed early in the day has for the most part disappeared, but still a very comfortable afternoon as Tom Flores works the near sideline for the Raiders. Let's double check and get the correct score. It's now 38-10, New Orleans comfortably on top of Tampa Bay, so that we were correct. There had been an error there in one of the graphics. It just kind of crawled into the machine, a little glitch. Bills start deep in their own territory, and they start on the ground. Harmon trying to shake away from Howie Long, but unable to do so.
This is an interesting defense. They're down where you think they want to run, but the Raiders are actually in a 5 defensive back set. Howie Long is on a pass rush. Look at the little arm rep. He gets in there. Howie Long was on a pass rush. The lineman took position on him, and Howie caught him. When you run a sweep, like we say, you got to hit the guy in the middle and hope he runs into somebody else because you've got other people outside blocking. Howie just pass rushed him and made a great play on the run.
Sure did. Got hold of that shirt tail and he just hung on until he could pull him down. Second down and 11. On the ground once again. Harmon trying the other side, and he's got some room. Popping out there to about the 20-yard line before he's knocked down by Sam Seal. 12-yard pickup. Going to be very, very close to the first down. Looks like may have gotten across the spot. Although the markers we were looking at had been pulled away from the ball carrier. Yeah, easily the first down. 1:01 to play in the third quarter. Tom Flores, we talk about his tenure being in the organization for 22 years. He's one of just two men who have 4 Super Bowl rings. He got one as a player in Kansas City, one as an assistant coach with the Raiders, and then, of course, he has been the head coach when the Raiders have won a pair of Super Bowl championships. Kelly against the blitz completes the pass. Boy, what a great effort by both the quarterback Kelly and the receiver Pete Metzelaars, the tight end. Jerry Robinson was
Jerry Robinson, now he's got to take the inside away. Metzelaars make a good move to cut in front of him. And an awful nice catch. With those long arms, they have to be size 40. You get anything, if you can catch like that, just throw it out there. He'll grab it.
The pressure that time on Kelly was coming from Sean Jones. Robinson with the defensive coverage and a nice catch by Metzelaars. 25 seconds to go in the quarter as Kelly takes a look up and down the line. Going to go to Porter. Across the 30 with a spin move out to the 34-yard line. Bill showing some patience here and effectively trying to move the ball out after they started deep in their own territory. As we're down now to the final 8 seconds of the quarter. Robinson teaming with McElroy once again on that stop by the Raiders. Looks like that's going to be the last play of the third quarter. That is the gun. Got a good one going here in Los Angeles. The Raiders lead it 27-21. Back after these messages from your local station. Davey on the sideline for the Bills, their head coach, hoping that he can get his club into the playoffs for the first time since '81, and Tom Flores trying to salvage some pride of this season after a disastrous 7-game losing streak for the Raiders. Raiders lead it by 6. Bills with the football. Ricky Porter working straight ahead this time, getting a yard. Rod Martin is there to make the tackle just across the 35. Just underway here now in the fourth quarter. We'll take a look at third quarter stats. Coming into this second half, the Raiders were down 1, but they came back impressively. 382 total yards now for Los Angeles to 315 for the Bills. Both quarterbacks have been effective today. They've put up a pretty good percentage of their passes for yardage that's closing in on 300. Kelly being chased, eludes 2 men, still got to hurry, tripped up from behind and pulled down by Rod Martin. The persistence of Rod Martin finally paying off with the sack, and Kelly scrambling for his life back there, literally.
Well, you see the pass rush now, right up the middle. Here comes Rod Martin. You will see him appear on the right side of your screen, and Jim Kelly avoids him. Now it looks like they're going to get him with Townsend and Lofton. They all run together, but Martin doesn't give up. Kelly really made a great play to avoid about 15 more yards of losses, but all this time when he came free, everybody was covered downfield and allowed Martin a chance to get back and make the tackle.
That'll make it third down and 11. Just underway here in Los Angeles in the fourth quarter. Raiders with a 6-point advantage. 4-man rush. Kelly over the middle completes the pass to Andre Reed into Raider territory at the 44-yard line. McElroy with the tackle. 23-yard pickup for Andre Reed.
Good protection. They were bringing 4 defensive linemen rushing hard. They've got man-to-man coverage downfield. Good move to get open. And there we have Reed beating Stephon Adams for a good in route. But when you get man-to-man coverage and you can get protection, you've got to be able to work free. Look at a good move to come underneath of Stephon Adams, and look at the ball right there in the numbers. Kelly's a pretty good quarterback.
Look at this for Andre Reed today. 6 receptions, over 130 yards. That's an impressive stat in itself. At the 44-yard line, and we're early fourth quarter. This is Burkett trying to circle away from defenders and unable to do so as he's finally pulled down. James Davis was the man who was in there on the stop and had some help from Sam Seal. 12:52 to play as Kelly takes a look at the situation now. Ball is at the 42-yard line in Raider territory. Buffalo down 6. Kelly has thrown for 300 yards on 2 occasions this season. Has done it 4 times in his NFL career. Now his second NFL season for Buffalo. Andre Reed has been the key big receiver thus far in this one today. Raiders sending a 5-man rush this time. Kelly with protection going for Reed, and that one almost intercepted. Playing that ball very nicely with Sam Seal at the sideline. Protection seemed to hold up for Kelly, but that one leading his receiver right to the out-of-bounds marker.
Just good pass defense. They had man-to-man coverage. The corner route's an excellent pass against it, but every now and then, your defender's going to cover you. And there's human beings out there playing, and Sammy Seal made a good defensive play, covered him.
Sammy Seal was converted. He used to be a wide receiver back in '85, and he was a running back prior to that. He's now in his 4th year. Was a track champion, NAIA school in Colorado, Western State. Made a big defensive play right there. Got Broughton and Tremaine Johnson in as extra wide receivers now for the Bills. Kelly out of the shotgun. 3rd down. Completes the pass to Burkett, but he's going to be short of the first down, it appears. Sam Seal with the tackle. And decision time coming up now for Levy and the Bills with 12:03 to play. Ball in Los Angeles territory, and the Bills trailing by 6 and looking at 4th and short yardage. Levy talking with his coaching staff upstairs, making the decision, and they are going to go for it right here. Well, what do you think, Coach Casper?
Why not? I
Why
like
not?
this.
All right, good. Entertaining football. The crowd liking it too, and now getting into the spirit as they urge on the Raider defenders. They need a good 2 yards on this 4th down from the 36. Against a 5-man rush, knocked away, but a penalty marker is down. Penalty marker is down. James Davis making the defensive play, and it's in the area where you suspicion it would be holding. And that's the indication. So it'll be declined.
Holding on the offense, number 67. They declined the penalty. It's 1st down.
Big play by the Raider defense. Kent Hull was guilty of the hold, so even if they had completed the pass, it would have been brought back. And that would have then forced most likely a punting situation. As it is, however, the penalty declined with the pass being incomplete. And when we come back after this commercial break, the Raiders will be trying to protect a 27-21 lead.
Today's game is brought to you by Bud Light, proud sponsor of the 1988 U.S. Olympic team. Everything else is just a light. By Mazda, bringing performance and value together. That's the Mazda way. And by Samsonite, our strengths are legendary.
Let's go back and take a look at this critical hold right here.
If he's got you beat, pull him down on top of you. That is holding.
So the Raiders have the football after stopping the Bills in Los Angeles territory, and the Raiders on the ground with Bo Jackson out across the 45-yard line. Boy, he came within an eyelash of popping that one.
Yeah, he was expecting to get hit, and there wasn't anybody there. Probably lucky for whoever was supposed to be there that he didn't hit him, because Bo was ready.
Dwight Drain got a chance to upend him, got a hand in there to knock him off his feet. We have 11:03 to go, and it looks like we've got a timeout for some situation. I think this is an official timeout. Just getting the chains caught up here. And they're going to bring it in to see whether or not Jackson's carry was good for the 1st down. Raiders led early, 10-0. Trailed at halftime, 14-13, as the Bills came back, and you see just how much they're short of the first down. Then in the third quarter, Raiders efficiently moving the football once again, getting a touchdown run from Marcus Allen and a 41-yard TD pass from Mark Wilson to James Lofton. Bills answered back with Harmon going 8 yards for a score. Had this last drive thwarted on fourth down. And now the Raiders with the football. 10:50 to play, 27-21. Los Angeles with the 6-point advantage. Second down and 1. Actually, inches. Allen trying to get the inches. Play strung out. Looks like he has the first down. Let's go to New York now, and we'll update some other activity. Bob Costas is standing by, NFL Live.
Okay, Gary, the Patriots led the Broncos 17-3 at the half, but Denver comes back to tie it. Here's an Elway bullet of 7 yards to Rick Massey. That evens it at 17 late in the third. The 2 Denver touchdowns in that third quarter, both set up by turnovers. The most recent one, a Carl Mecklenburg interception.
And what a big one this is for Denver today, with San Diego having already lost. San Diego now 8-4, and a chance for Denver to go 8-3-1. Across the 50-yard line, Bo Jackson with a head down, straight ahead. One of the few times, Dave, we've seen him actually move straight ahead. Most of the time he's been running wide.
Well, they've been going, you're right, they've been going wide, Gary. That time they just said, let's go up the middle, and Bo Jackson did it. He put his head down. That's 230 pounds of momentum. Not only his momentum size, but its speed. When he gets that body moving so fast, that's, bats hit home runs and move fast, and people have momentum that can run like that.
When he was a high school athlete in Alabama, he was the state decathlon champion, and he set no less than a half dozen prep records, 6 different events. Superb athlete, Mr. Jackson. Wilson being pressured, down he goes. Boy, Ray Bentley on the blitz that time, and you see some emotion there on the part of Bentley in the Bills defense. So he comes up with a big sack.
Big play, big play. You have 2nd and 6. Even if he doesn't get sacked, they've got a chance. Now they have 3rd and long. Wilson drops back. There's nobody in the middle to pick up. They don't see Bentley. Somebody misreads him. The back's split wide. Now he comes through and makes the play. That's a mistake. There's no other 2 ways around it. Somebody didn't pick him up. It was a mistake.
The loss goes all the way back inside the 42-yard line, so it's now 3rd down and long yardage here. 16 needed by the Raiders. On the ground, Jackson up the middle, and he's only going to get a couple of it back, but out to the 45 or 46-yard line. Fred Smerlas there on the tackle for the Bills, and that's what the Bills defense wanted to be able to do, force the punting situation. Stan Talley coming on as we watch Smerlas go off on the far side. You don't get a lot of glory when you play nose tackle in the National Football League or anywhere else for that matter. And especially with the season that Bruce Smith is having and the notoriety that's been turned toward the rookies, Cornelius Bennett and Shane Conlon. But Smerlas, in his 9th year, 4 times a Pro Bowler, having a very effective day. Talley standing back at his own 31. Ron Pitts waiting for the punt. Nice boot by Talley. Pitts at the 9-yard line, maybe the 10, and down at the 15. Penalty marker is down. 44 yards on the punt by Talley, 6 yards on the return. We do have a penalty marker down, however. Jesse Hester was downfield for the tackle. Keeping an eye on Ben Drive here. Will update us.
Holding number 26 on a receiving team. We're going to give him 10 yards, and it's 1st down, and that's timeout.
Ricky Porter on the receiving team was the man guilty, as we'll have a commercial break coming up here. 27-21 with just over 8 minutes to go in L.A. Along with former All-Pro receiver Dave Casper, I'm Gary Gerould in Los Angeles. Glad to have you with us here in an entertaining football game from the Coliseum today. The Bills go to work down 6, and they'll start at their own 5-yard line. Kelly today has already thrown for 285 yards and 1 touchdown pass. Andre Reed has been the big receiver with 6 receptions for 135 yards. 8:07 to play in this one. 4-man rush, and the ball knocked down. Kelly trying to throw out of the end zone, had it batted right back in his face. Malcolm Taylor may have been the man who got his arms in there, number 96.
Back to throw. Five defensive backs, 4 pass rushers. Howie Long.
Howie, yep.
just knocked that ball down. He says, and don't try that again.
6'5", 265-pounder out of Villanova, of course.
Another thing to remember here is how he gets in the way of the pass. The rushers are part of the pass defense. If they open up the middle for the throwing lanes, it makes passing easier. Howie got in a passing lane.
2nd down and 10. Again from the end zone. Swings it out here. Harmon circles. Gets out to the 10. Loses the football, but he's down. Jerry Robinson was there to pounce and grab it and head for the end zone, and he was ready to go into a victory dance.
Whistle.
But that one
goes back to the offense.
Goes back to the offense. You hear Ben Wright. 17-17, that Denver-New England game. What a comeback for the Broncos, and 38-20 now. Tampa Bay getting a few more points against New Orleans, but it's late and still down 18. How about those Saints? They're making some believers this year. Looking to go 9-3 today. 3rd down, 5 yards needed. 5 defensive backs in for the Raiders. Kelly and Andre Reed unable to hang on. Stacy Turan with the coverage. Andre Reed, who had caught 6 today after being shaken up early in the ball game. A little slow getting up off the Coliseum floor in this one, but a punting situation for John Kidd. Chris Woods, the return man, and we'll take a look here at the coverage.
Notice if he would have caught the ball, he still wouldn't have had a 1st down. The Raiders had jammed up the route, made him right in the route short. He wouldn't have had a 1st down anyway. It wasn't even a good route.
Kidd boots it. Oh, nice kick. All the way back to the 34-yard line. He got a big one. Woods is being chased down at the 32-yard line. 54 yards on the punt, a negative 2 yards on the return. Steve Tasker with the tackle, and John Kidd being congratulated after a brilliant effort on that punt to get Buffalo out of a hole. Great punt and coverage by the Bills, getting them out of a hole, but with 7:02 to go, I have to assume now that the Raiders have got to try to protect that lead. 6 points up. Sit on the football?
Well, I wouldn't sit on it. If they get the ball back to Buffalo, Buffalo's got a heck of a chance of winning this game. Both teams the way they want to be. They're both close in the 4th quarter.
There's Bo Jackson, and not much working this time for Bo as he gets ahead only a yard or 2. And the Bills' defense will now be tested. They have, for the most part, kept Jackson in check today. He has not had any sensational game-breaking performances like he had Monday night up in Seattle. You see his updated numbers. It's a solid 17 for 76 yards, but nothing like that flashy 8.1 rushing average that he brought into the game for the season. See the time remaining. Wilson to the air this time. Down the middle and wide open, Lofton, 41-yard line. He was popped immediately by Derek Burrows, but not before he'd gained 29 yards as he hung on. Smile of satisfaction on both the faces of James Lofton and Mark Wilson.
That's an awful deep route by Lofton. Look at the time Wilson has. Now, Wilson throws the ball behind him because, look at, he would have ran into Burrows. So Wilson read the defense for Lofton, threw the ball behind him intentionally, and Lofton made the correction to get to the ball. But if Wilson would have let him, he would have been creamed.
And with now thrown his first 300-yard game of the year, 19 of 31 for 304 yards. Here's Jackson trying to counter back. Bruce Smith got a fistful of jersey to drag him down. That
Big
keeps
Bruce
the clock
Smith,
going.
Big Bruce Smith running down fast Bo Jackson. Pretty good play.
Down to 5 minutes and 28 seconds.
I wouldn't want to line up against that man.
5th time now in Mark Wilson's career. Actually, the 7th time that he has thrown for 300 yards in a ball game, but the first time this season. Pretty solid numbers. We go 19 for 31. That gets everybody's attention. Wilson's had his share of criticism in the quarterback controversy here in Los Angeles. And, of course, when you were in the 7-game losing streak, a lot of fingers start being pointed. Again, with protection, and again, he completes the pass at the 35-yard line. Lofton pulled down by Nate Odoms. Getting the time to throw and then putting it right on target. Nice tight spiral again to Lofton.
Notice number 50, Bentley, he's coming. That means they're on a blitz. Man-to-man coverage, and Lofton gets open on a short pattern. Lofton is running a hook. That's the toughest route to run against man coverage because you can't keep running away from your man, but he gets open.
Well, Lofton has climbed another notch among the all-time yards total for receivers, now 5th. 10,290, 132 today. Bo Jackson, the man of the moment, however, inside the 30, knocked down by Wayne Davis. The Raiders are doing just what they need to do. They're getting the first downs. They're controlling the football game and the clock, leading by 6 with 4:14 to go.
Big play. They don't make this first down. They're too far to kick a field goal. They might have to give the ball back, but again, Bo's speed does it. Notice Randy Holloway still had to have a heck of a block on the left side because that's what you call a soft corner. Nobody makes Bo go back. He turns up the field and you're going to get yards.
Just short of the 27-yard line, the line of scrimmage with 4:14 to go. You mentioned Lofton with 132 yards receiving. Second time this year he's done it. 33rd time in his great 10-year career he's done it. This is Marcus Allen. And look at Marcus counter back to the left side. He puts a little hook slide just short of the 20-yard line when he saw 3 of those Bills snorting along coming after him. Shane Conlon was among that trio. Also Darryl Talley.
However, he did get 7 yards.
Indeed he did. Inside 4 minutes now. Ball just inside the 21. Vance Mueller has come in to replace Marcus Allen in the Raider backfield now.
Look at that clock just tick away. Buffalo's got to do something to get it back. They've got to take a chance, stop them on the run, bring a bunch of people up, but they can't give them this 5 yards at a time.
From the 21-yard line, pitch out comes to Marcus Allen, tripped up in the backfield. Penetration and tackle made by Shane Conlon.
That's just what they did that time. Shane Conlon came up, but as opposed to playing his linebacker position, came up into the line and penetrated. I don't think they were ready for him.
Conlon's had an active afternoon. New England back on top of Denver, breaking the tie to lead by 3. New Orleans adding 3 more to its total over Tampa Bay. A couple of surprises earlier today. San Diego lost again. Cleveland was defeated by Indianapolis. Atlanta knocked off Dallas. It's been that kind of a season. You just don't know, it seems like, from week to week. And in an entertaining game here in L.A. today, Raiders up 27-21 with 2:45 to play. All the time in the world for Wilson, going deep down the middle. Wide open in the end zone for the touchdown is Dokie Williams. Art Wilson just set up camp back there and then finally hit Williams for 23 yards in the touchdown, and what a big score that is right there.
Boy, oh boy. Watch Todd Christensen cross your screen. He's being held up. Wilson was looking for him. He said, well, maybe I'll try out here. And Dokie Williams just found an open spot and ran to it. But that was his third, at least, his third receiver option there, and he had plenty of time to throw.
Touchdown number 5 this season for Dokie Williams as you see him on the near sideline. A big reception, crawling literally through the end zone to get that one. And Chris Barr on for another conversion attempt. He's got it. So the Raiders come up with a very big score with 2:38 left to go. And a little celebrating going on the sidelines as Williams took a splash right on the face. They now lead at 34-21. 23 yards on the touchdown pass. Tonight, gridiron action continues on our house. Then it's an hour of comedy fun with Family Ties and My Two Dads. After that, the NBC world premiere movie, Down Payment on Murder. That's tonight on NBC. And don't forget, NBC News Preview, the big summit, coming up as well. So it's a loaded night tonight on NBC. Well, Kelly and company going to be put to the test right now. There's O.J. Juice taking this one in today. And, you know, he's a happy man here in Southern California watching the Raiders.
Well, the fourth Heisman Trophy winner if we have in the stadium.
I tell you, there are Heisman Trophy guys all over the place. We saw Jim Plunkett on the sideline, and we've been watching Allen and Jackson. Now we watch Barr kick off. Tasker, Porter, Mueller down here. And it is Tasker, I believe, bringing this one up. Trying to wiggle his way free outside and getting close to the 30-yard line, but not quite able to get any further. He was brought down by Chris McLemore, activated for this ball game as a running back and a special teams player today. So Kelly takes a look at the clock, and with 2:28 to go, finds himself trailing in this one by 13. Needs 2 touchdowns, so he's going to have to go to work in a hurry, obviously. From the 28-yard line, stepping away from the pressure now, electing to keep the football and headed for the sidelines and out of bounds at the 31-yard line.
As I watch Kelly run, I don't see his receivers keep working downfield. They're not open, but they're not running. It seemed like the only person running across the field was Kelly. They've got to keep working a little bit harder. It's a tough situation in the game, but it certainly isn't over yet.
Bills coming in with the knowledge that Indianapolis had already won today. Their victory over Cleveland, giving Indianapolis a 7-5 record. Buffalo, unless they can come up with something bordering on the amazing here, is liable to go back to 500 at 6-6. Kelly trying to keep it alive, finds Reed at the 49-yard line. Van McElroy again there with a tackle. This is a 19-yard pickup, and that's the 7th pass that Reed has pulled in today, and he's putting up some pretty impressive receiving numbers, but we count down to the 2-minute mark. Just able to get this play underway 1 tick ahead of the 2-minute warning. Going to the sidelines, and the clock would have been stopped anyhow. Looking for Ronnie Harmon out of the backfield. 34-21 is our score. The Raiders leading this one. Effective performances by the Raiders today. We do have a penalty marker down on this last play, so we're not yet.
Foul on number 99, hitting the quarterback late. That's a first down, 15 yards.
That's a first down.
You better believe it. Sean Jones got to the quarterback and hit him, and that's a no-no. And as Ben Dry said, that is a first down, and it'll move the ball into Raider territory. Let's see if we can get a look at it here.
Now let's see what happens. Well, that's one of those two-steppers it must be. You're going to take one step and hit him. Also could have been the fact that he lowered his helmet. They really are looking closely at a defender that lowers his helmet and hits the quarterback. If they see it, they tend to call a penalty.
Well, the Bills have the football at the 35 in Los Angeles territory, but they're trailing by 13. It's a 34-21 ball game and only a minute 57 remaining. Jim Kelly trying to rally the troops once again and trying to keep them on a pace with Indianapolis in the AFC East. I have a moment here. We want to thank our folks in the booth today. Chuck Panama and Gretchen Meyer, our sponsors. Fran Bellini, our stage manager. Dennis Mnuchin doing a great job with the stats. We've enjoyed this football game today in Los Angeles. We appreciate the help of all the men and women up and down the line. Hope that you've enjoyed it at home. It's the Raiders trying to make it 2 in a row, and the Bills trying to come up with something here in this last 157. Out of the shotgun, Kelly. Going deep, and there's nobody there. Nobody even close. Walter Broughton was in the general vicinity of the right side of the field, but the ball was a good 10 yards or so beyond him. Let's check the report card on this one today. You see the numbers for Kelly. He's over 300 yards now with the 1 touchdown pass earlier. Harmon, who has scored 2 on the ground, both from 8 yards out. And the receiving numbers for Andre Reed, 153 yards on 7 receptions. Solid efforts all the way around, but trailing. And a quick look now at the Raider stats. Wilson with his biggest day of the season, passing 3 touchdown passes. 78 yards rushing for Bo Jackson as we look at Kelly backpedal against the rush. Firing in the corner. Broughton can't hang on. Penalty marker down at the 10-yard line. Stacy Turan with the coverage on Walter Broughton, second-year player out of Jacksonville State. See which way this one goes. Got a penalty marker down way back upfield, too, close to midfield, so we may have a case of offsetting here.
Offensive holding, number 70. Defensive pass interference, 45. We're going to play it over.
Hasn't been too many penalties so far. Now we get them all in one play.
Take a look at the defensive coverage here that drew the interference.
Looked like pretty good football to me, but that man, they're throwing the flags a lot better position to call it than we are from this angle.
So we'll play it over. Ball still at the 35. Minute 44 to go. Raiders 34, Buffalo 21. Buffalo with the football and threatening. They need the score, and then, of course, the onside. Over the middle. Pulling it down is Trumaine Johnson, his first reception of the day. Jerry Robinson with the tackle. This one spotted at the 29-yard line. Third down coming up. Clock continuing to run. Kelly with a little pump. Oh, nice. This one is intercepted. No, it hit the ground. It was deflected by Stephon Adams. Seal came up with 43, but it hit the ground first. And for a moment, I thought he was going to have clear sailing right down that far sideline. So now the Bills are looking at a 4th down play. They need a good 3 to 4 yards.
Call a good play here.
Minute 22 to go. And I think the Bills are going to take a timeout and talk this one over, try to figure out just what they want to work with. Kelly going to the sidelines, and we'll confer now with the coaching staff. Minute 22 to go. 4th down situation for Kelly and the Bills right after this break. With the scoreboard, Raiders up 13. This is 4th down and perhaps out for the Buffalo Bills in this one. They need to keep it alive. They've got to get close to 4 yards to do it. 4-man Raider rush. Kelly over the middle. Incomplete. Raiders will take over. Burkett was in the vicinity. I'm not sure if he was the primary receiver or not. But at any rate, the defense has done the job for Kelly and company. It looks like it's going to be a long flight back to upstate New York and a disappointing loss. They came in with such high hopes, having won 3 of their last 4, 5 out of their last 7. And with Indianapolis having already won today, a big victory over Cleveland, the Raiders right now take command. It looks like they're going to go 2 for 2 this week. Strahan and Mueller will be the running backs. The disappointment lined into the face of Jim Kelly as the Raiders now will come out with a minute 18 to kill on the way to their 5th victory of the year and the 2nd this week. Hand off to Strahan, straight ahead to the 30, to the 31-yard line. And the countdown will begin, but of course the Bills are going to exhaust their supply of timeouts before that happens. Dean Prater in on the tackle for Buffalo. Went along earlier in the day today, a few surprises. That'll be reflected in the standings now as we take a look at how things are stacking up in the AFC as we move closer toward playoff time coming down the stretch here of this 15-game regular season. In the AFC East, Indianapolis with their win at Cleveland, now 7-5. Buffalo with this loss back to 500. Jets, of course, play Miami tomorrow night, and they could still hold on to a first-place tie. San Diego lost again today. The Denver game still up in the air, not being settled. The chance that Denver could go 8-3-1 and take the lead. Seattle, having lost, is now 7-5, and you see the Raiders would be at 5-7. Mueller swinging out to the left side. He's being wrestled down by Nate Odoms.
Staying in bounds. They can let the clock run out a little bit more.
Bills have taken now their final timeout, and you see the time remaining.
It's got to be tough on Marv Levy because they played an excellent game today. The Raiders just played error-free offensive football.
Let's take a look at the games remaining now for the Raiders. They are be at Kansas City next week. Then they entertain Cleveland. That could be a significant ball game. And they end up in Chicago at Soldiers Field on the 27th. Now for the Buffalo Bills, who of course have still got some playoff hopes alive, they'll be at Indianapolis in the Hoosier Dome next week. Their final home game on the 20th against New England. New England playing Denver tough this afternoon. And then they'll end up their season at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia against Buddy Ryan's ball club. (34-21). Got several candidates for MVP honors here today. I think Mark Wilson certainly has to stand tall among the candidates.
Could be very true. Mark Wilson hung in there, threw the ball well. Lofton played well. Marcus Allen blocked awful well.
We've got a variety of guys who did an excellent job, as we saw Mueller carry outside that time and the clock continuing to run. I think I would cast my vote for Mark Wilson. There's a man who's struggled this year, 3 touchdown passes today, his first effort over 300 yards. I think I'm going to go on record right now.
Certainly can't argue with that. But he's played 2 excellent games in a row. The fans have to love him, at least for 2 games.
For 2 games. Well, he had a big performance thanks to Jackson Allen and company Monday night, and now they're backing it up in a short week today. And I know that Al Davis and Tom Flores and all the members of the Raiders organization will be breathing a lot easier in this one. No other way to stop the clock for the Buffalo Bills, so they are going to go now to a record of 6-6. Time for our Most Valuable Player Award, sponsored by Budweiser. Today's MVP, you see him, Mark Wilson of the Raiders. Budweiser will make a contribution to the United Way on behalf of all the MVPs selected in today's game. Helmet off for the first of the post-game interviews for Mark Wilson on the sidelines as the Los Angeles Raiders come up with a big victory here today. Final scores 34-21. We'll be back to recap this one here in Los Angeles at the Coliseum right after this break. Touchdown passes from Mark Wilson today to Dokie Williams of 23 yards, to Bo Jackson of 14 yards, to James Lofton of 41 yards, a couple of Chris Barr field goals, and a Marcus Allen touchdown run of 2 yards. And the Raiders win this one today against the Bills. The executive producer of NBC Sports is Michael Weissman. Coordinating producer of NFL or NBC's football is Ted Nathanson. Coordinating producer of NFL Live is John Filippelli. Our game today has been produced by Terry Ewerts, directed by Harry Coyle. NFL Live is produced by Tom Roy and Ricky Diamond, and NFL Live is directed by Bucky Gunts. Big victory for the Raiders as they go 5-7. The Bills are now 6-6. For Dave Casper, I'm Gary Gerald, reminding you that next on most of these NBC stations, an NBC News special. A preview of the summit with Tom Brokaw, followed by NBC's regular primetime schedule, starting with Our House, followed by Family Ties, My Two Dads, and the NBC premiere movie Down Payment on Murder. Those of you on the West Coast will see the NBC News special, followed by local programming. 34-21, our final. Raiders win it. So long, everyone.